All right, everybody, we are live again. It's been a while. I've been traveling. I am so sorry. Before we get started, the tour is coming up to Nigeria, March 20th to the 26th. Please join us. If you are interested, send me an email, uhuru at searchforuhuru.com, or just go to dynastamir.com. Again, just go to dynastamir.com, send me an email. I'll make sure you guys get all the details. Again, tour is coming up March 20th to 26th, March 20th through the 26th. So please join us. Again, everyone in the chat room, thank you so much for joining. Sorry about being a little bit tardy. But we have my brother from Kenya, the legend, Grandmaster Rahh with us today. And today's topic is ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery, versus foundational Black Americans versus modern Africa. Should Black people be fighting for or jockeying for position on Zaddy's plantation here in America, or should we be building in Africa? Amara, have you been keeping up with the plantation infighting going on between ADOS, which is Team Yvette Carnell and Tone Talks, versus FBA, Foundational Black Americans, which is Team Tariq Nasheed? Have you been keeping up with it?
Yeah, I've been watching it from afar, and I wouldn't want to tangle with Levette. She's tough. The way she exposed Dr. Claude Anderson's bankruptcy, she's no joke. But still says she's picked the wrong team, and the end results of FBA are just more of the same. And if you're on the Titanic, it doesn't matter if you're ADOS or FBA, it's still going to sink, and you're going to go down and get wet along with all those who decide that the United States is where they want to bank their future.
Guys, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe as well if you're new, and hit that notification bell if you like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much. Amira, again, them sexifying, fighting for I guess better positions on Zaddy's plantation. What are your thoughts on that overall?
I mean, overall, they're talking about conversation. I mean, Tone Talks is always saying, let's talk, let's have a conversation. Yeah. And Tariq is the same thing. I mean, he wants to have a big conference to talk. And the time for talking is really over. It's time for an action. And that's why I'm saying, when you see Black people that are going out and trying to explore Africa in greater numbers, this is the only solution. This is the only solution to the problems that we have as Black Americans. I mean, racism is just economic oppression. So how do you stop economic oppression? You have to leave it, especially if you're the minority in a country. You cannot defeat the dominant society who has a serious hankering for your neck. I mean, they've been on our necks for 400 years. They're playing this game, and they don't want us to realize that they're playing this game. And so a lot of Blacks can't believe that the system was designed by white people for our oppression economically. And until the majority of us, or more of us, get the complete understanding of this, and the way you do that is by reading into history, we're going to be having these type of groups like ADOS and FBA coming up, delaying us, tricking us, wasting our time. It's no different than the Nation of Islam when they came up with the ideas of, black people should have their own homeland. And we have had the Nation of Islam there for I don't know, 50 years with Farrakhan, and no homeland yet in America, no land to speak of. So if you just take a look at the history, see the results of all these movements, you see that it's just a time waster. The Million Man March, it wasted time. Civil Rights Bill, wasted time. The only solution is for us to pack up and go. If you're in a situation where you can't win, and you've been trying for, I don't know, let's say 400 years, then what do? You still sit down at the table and play? And it was funny because this one guy was commenting me on my channel talking about he's a warrior. He wants to stay and fight.
Rahh, these cats won't break a fingernail. Let me tell you what they mean by fight. What they mean by fight is have a conference to talk about their grievances and or practice capitalism, which is fine. I mean, get your money. By all means, get your money. That's their idea of fighting. Now, you see what's going on in Hong Kong, in China. They out there fighting. You see what's going on like in Bolivia and these Central American countries or South American countries. They're fighting. These cats won't break a fingernail. Like I said, it's conferences, more conferences, and with a sprinkle of let's buy back the block and ownership and capitalism. That's their idea of fighting. But as far as actually fighting, it's not gonna happen. But go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying obviously when you look at the results of all these people that are coming up and fighting, they were telling me, I'm in you're a turncoat because you left, you're a coward, you didn't stay to fight. And I was like, I'm fighting because when you take your physical body outside of the United States and go to another country and spend your money and eat there, live there, pay for transportation there, you're building that economy wherever your physical body goes. So that hurts America. If you take a small town of let's say 5 people, this is small. We're just making an example here. Pick a town of 500 people, and those 500 people, what happened? 500 people, 100 of them go on a trip to Africa. The local shop, who's hanging on that chair? The local shop will feel that pinch of 100 people not shopping there. Would feel that shop where people won't be buying petrol there. So clearly, leaving has an impact on the GDP of any country or any community. And if 100 African Americans decided to go and retire in an African country, coupled with the exchange rate, that would be a great bonus for wherever country they decide that they want to live in. So to fight racism is not actually physically go up and protest. We tried that. It's not going a Million Man March. No, we marched, we did all riot, we did all of that, civil rights bill, we went to government, we voted, all of that didn't work. But just leave and set up shop in an African country where you're not being oppressed. That's the best and only option for Black Americans. And the sooner they realize it, the better off we'll be.
Now, people keep asking Diners, well, you're still in America. Listen, I'm going to tell you the difference between me and the Captain Black America. All right. I have no emotional attachment to this place called America. All right. Or to this so-called identity called Black American. That's the difference. All right. And I could come and go as I feel like it. Period. So that's the difference between me and the Captain Black American. Here go the rebuttals, Rahh. Here go the rebuttals and the arguments. Well, we fought in every war here in America. Our bones are buried here in America. Those are the rebuttals. Like I said, I have no emotional attachment to this place called America at all. But go ahead, Amir Ross.
Yeah, yeah. You know, they say about whatever they say about what we have established in America since the beginning of slavery. They have to realize that we were kidnapped. We have also bones in our home country of Africa. We have, we built buildings in our home of Africa, and then we were stolen. And we have to understand that we were stolen and kidnapped, beaten, and jailed, raped. So you want to come with a kind of concept like you're walking around and America owes you, but they're never going to pay. The foundation of America was off our backs, and the end result of America, if it happens soon, will we'll play a great part in, because if this and ADOS and these people in America, these house Negroes, they know if any kind of little match that sparks a flame, black people could just, I'm out, I'm going to Africa, fuck it, they just get up and go. And it could, any little incident could cause this. Now people say, is it white people or is it the government? The government is white people. What's her name? Lynette? I'm so bad at names. Yvette Cardone, what's her name?
Yvette Carnell.
Yvette Carnell, yeah. Yvette Carnell did a show where she was saying that the government is just a mixture of all people, black, white, Chinese, and that's just a damn lie. Because the Senate is the most powerful body, and 97 of those people is white. I mean, the majority of them, far majority of them, are white, and don't have term limits. They're the ones who decide what they have at the end of the day, can veto the president, override the president. So don't tell me that the government is not white. And white is not the government. I was talking with Phil Scott from the Advice Show, and he was and I was explaining to him about how they did that survey in Chicago where they had the white names and the black names, and they did out resumes for black names and white names, and the black name CVs and resumes got 50% less callbacks. So don't tell me that there's not an underlying air of racism inside America, all through it. Don't tell me that. And then don't tell me, but can you really look at your kids and say you got an equal opportunity just like any other person in America? Can anybody get their black child and say you got an equal, I'm put you to school and then I'm gonna send you out in the world to go get a job, and do you got every right and every equal opportunity as everybody else? You don't. But you do have that when you come to modern Africa. Modern Africa has taken a long time to develop. It's still developing itself. But right now, we have, it has the ability to support us. And as time grows on, it'll be stronger and stronger. And this is why you don't hear a lot of people talking negative about Africa anymore, because there's too much evidence to show that modern Africa is true. And all of these stupid ass stories about Africa is poor, Africa is the Chinese are taking over, Africa is the African leaders don't run their own country. All these are just lies, propaganda, which is slowly fading away. And what's going to replace it is just the same thing.
Oh, here's my favorite, Amaral. Africom took over Africa.
Yeah, I said too many times, there's only one military base in all of Africa. Nobody else has it except in Djibouti. And China has one base. They don't call it a military base, and it's located 6 miles from the American base. But if anybody thinks that somehow America is going to come in and do some military strikes on black people, you just been watching too many G.I. Joe movies, and you must understand why. That's just not possible. What you gonna do? I mean, look at Iraq today. It's in the news right now. You see, Iraq is in the news, and 4,000 Americans lost their lives in a war that was useless. Still, they obtained nothing. You see, the war in Afghanistan, the Americans got their butt kicked, but they want to try to act like, okay, we just got tired. No, you got tired of getting your butt kicked, and this is something that when you watch too many Avenger movies and all of this thing, you think that these people are gonna come out here and got all kind of major weapons. Like people don't have weapons. And then let's say you came in and you defeated the army of an African country. So the other African countries is gonna sit there. I'm talking about the black ones, not the Arab ones. They just gonna sit there? No. When they killed Gaddafi, what the Africans decided to do was simply do more business with China rather than America. And now look, 75% of Africa's export trade is with China. So there, you can have a fight with bullets, but the African is smarter than that. You know he can't defeat you with bullets, but his country is his country, and he's not going to allow whites to, no matter how much they kill, come in and control that land. And it's impossible for America to control 500 million or even a million people. They could barely keep control of Iraq for the time they was there. And so you take a country like Kenya, 3 times the size, you're joking. So they should get that thing out of their mind that the military is so powerful that they can come in and they're going to do that. Really? For what? And like the Chinese are going to just let them do that. That's a factor. If Chinese has a lot of infrastructure projects in an African country or any country, business all around the world, and America comes in and starts bombing up the infrastructure, China have nothing to say. You see? And America and the Pentagon, they factor all in. If I go there and blow up the high-speed road in Kenya, the Chinese going to say, oh, sorry. No, it's not going to be like that. But that is something that's a stalemate far away. It is for military action to take place, because there's too many things that go against America if they did that. And that's really off the table completely. The fact is that people are mad because the United States has lost, and they have this imagination where they still holding on to the dream that America is some sort of superpower that can control any country at their own will. That's just never was the case. In Vietnam, it wasn't the case, and today it's not the case. So, the only solution is for house Negroes to do their research, get into the history of America, and then sit back in a quiet room somewhere and realize that it's never going to change. No matter how far down America goes, black people are going to be the first ones to feel it. No matter what happens to America, we are the ones that are feeling it. You go to where the homeless are, black people. You go to the drug epidemic in America today, it's black people in the middle of it. And we built that country. You know what I'm saying? We built it. You wouldn't even be there without us, but we have gotten no respect whatsoever as far as America's government and American white people are concerned. Here they are whitewashing the history and removing us from the history even today. Things that we have created and done, trying to get a little like, look what I did. Let me, give me a break. Let me have some crumbs. No, they keep their foot on our neck and then ignore the statistics and gentrify us right out of our community. Nobody give a damn. They gentrified us right out of our black communities. Nobody talked. Just the same way they did 10, 15 years ago when corporations in America decided, hey, let's take those Detroit jobs over to China because they pay less. What about the black people? Fuck them. That's basically what they have done. So here we are running around working at Walmart and service jobs we hate, and then we have to have 2 of them in order to try to make ends meet, and then at the same time to give out. They've been giving out part-time jobs as opposed to full-time jobs. You don't even get benefits. And this is a situation that house Negroes are in, talking about, I'm gonna fight for my rights in America. Joking. It's just time to get out and work. Because if you do the research like I do, like Dr. Claude Anderson said, anybody with a third, you in trouble. If you just take a look back 10 years ago and look at your situation then to compare it to today, people on pins and needles because they're saying another recession is going to come and it's going to be worse than the one before. It may come or it may not come, but definitely the situation with African Americans is going down. Middle class is gone. Black communities are gone, and you can't stress that enough. You can't go your your Chinese friend or your Brazilian friend comes to America. Hey, bro, what's up, man? Tell me America. Where you gonna take him? You might drive through Bel Air, but point to the next house. You don't own none of these houses. You don't have no black community. So you see, that coupled with the sad reality that they said a million blacks own businesses in America. 98% of them don't have employees. So really, a state of black America. Now, how you gonna get rich if you don't got no business? Unless you got long legs, or you can take a football, close your eyes, and ram your body into other people. This is a sad situation. No, Dennis, because you're a football player, and I read about you, and I was like, and I know you tell me. So when I was young, I played street ball all the time.
Hey, I'm real quick. Let me do this. Let me read these super chats real quick. I just want to super chats read real quick. Shout out to everybody who's super chatting. Let me go ahead and read them. Let me scroll back up here. Here we go. Pan-Africanism strikes back. I can't pronounce that last word. I'm not going to try to. ADOS and FBA, along with Hebrew Israelites, are the new religion. We are leaving the churches, so these are new inventions, are the same system to convince African Americans that they have a stake in America. Civil Rights 2.0. Next, let's see here. Got another super chat. Go down to it. And guys, make sure you hit that like button and make sure you share the video. And if you're new, please subscribe. Please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Pan-Africanism strikes back. What is the difference between ADOS, FBA, and civil rights? What is the end goal? How will it empower our people? Our people have to stay focused. Exactly. DT Realist Hamilton. Africa is the only solution. And shout out to Brother Holub, just got back from Rwanda. Calling on my odds. Marcus Garvey said you can't take African back to Africa, and you said you can't take Africans back to Africa. You can't take all, but yeah. So Marcus Garvey said, basically some of us can't be saved. You can't take all of us back. And then shout out to Brother Holub for the super chat. Holub says, we don't need our own. The white man will take care of us. ADOS and FBA. My name is Jay. Yvette Carnell and Cryberry Baby Tony want to keep our American family in the burning house. Much love to my African Americans. Go ahead, Rahh.
I was talking about the football thing, and I was saying, like I played street ball, and I think I was around 23. I don't know. There's some little area there in your life where you had stopped playing, and then you feel like you can still play. And I went to a football tryout, and I was standing there. You know how when they had two brothers run into each other, and they had these two brothers slamming into each other. And right there, realizing, my goodness, this is what it's all about. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to sacrifice my body and slam it up against it. So they asked me to jump in, and I was like, no, thank you. You grow out of that. You come to realize something that is, if you're not talking about the money, it's something that's harmful for you. But actually, you have to experience it up close and personal to get that complete understanding of something that's not good for you. It's the same way with coming to Africa. You really won't know if it's good for you unless you come and see for yourself. So I know a lot of these guys are saying, I can't America, blah blah, for whatever reason. But it would only benefit them if they somehow got an African plan together and at least take a trip to see for themselves. Because trust me, more and more people are going to go this direction. And I have seen Tone Talks, I have seen Voice Like Dale, I have seen, Voice Like Dale. Am I saying Voice Like Dale?
Voice Watkins.
I've seen Dr. Claude Anderson, all Voice Watkins, yeah. And I've seen them, Dr. Umar Johnson. I have seen them now start to change and focus in a little bit more on Africa because it can't be denied the amount of growth that's going on here right now. I mean, I'm a living example of it. We always discuss only basically channel, and people can the rest. It's just a matter of taking it. You'll find that you'll definitely find that you have been lied to. Whether you're a field Negro or you're a house Negro, you make that trip. You'll definitely find that you have been lied to, and actually, that's what it's in the midst about Africa. Simply by going there yourself and seeing.
Guys, make sure you hit that like button. Shout out to Memi Self Forever One. Some Negroes need to be left behind. If ADOS loves America so much, then let them stay behind. After all, they want no connection to Africa.
Yeah, this nobody has ever said, including me, that all African Americans should go. Or I have no concept of seeing all Black Americans leave America. You only need a small number of serious African Americans to go there and businesses. What's supposed to happen 10, 15 years ago was the Black middle class was supposed to now come in and start investing in Africa. That should have been 10 years ago. And today, a lot of those Black American businessmen in Africa would be given our working class. So now that the working class is seeing, okay, now this is getting to be too much. They look at Africa, but there's no real businesses that we own in Africa. So they can't be supported. Why? Because America is very smart. They eliminated the middle class Black American, so he was never able to set up these foundational jobs, which he could easily have done with the exchange rate, to support Black American workers that would be coming into Africa. Because see, with me, I have businesses here, and I have hired African Americans to come in and do business with me, simply because I want somebody like me to do business with. I can want to laugh together. We want to sit down and make memories. This is what really life is all about, not about the money. But we don't have that on a large enough scale because our Black middle class waited too long, and then the 2008 recession just ended that possibility right there. So now you just have brothers come in with their holiday vacation week and come and see Africa for a minute, then back, saying every time they say coming back, I'm coming back. I didn't want to leave, but unfortunately, economics is something that we have to, that learn. Economics in Africa are not the same as in America. You have to understand African economics. The African is very, very conservative. It's not like us. He doesn't buy on a whim. So you have to understand how they think, how they, how their spending habits, and then that way you can start to now cater to business ideas that can make you money in Africa. Because if you don't make money in Africa, then what's the point? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of brothers go there, they want to try to do business, but the problem is that you have to get to understand the economics of Africa. It's not the same. It's not the same like America. And so once I learned the economics of how to deal with Africans, how they think, how their spending habits and things like that, then I can market my products, and then I find that they buy it, and they have money, and they're willing to spend that money. But it just depends on how you come at them. If you come out them with something like shiny new building, brand new lighting system, restaurant white walls, and all the latest features, the moment they walk in, they're gonna say, "Oh, the food gonna cost too much because this place is too nice." You see, and they're not gonna feel comfortable in that atmosphere. They probably won't even walk in. Many of them. So you have to understand that they like a certain kind of thing. They like to be conservative. They don't mind sitting on a stump and a wooden table, and if the food is really good. And these are things that you have to learn when you come into Africa to do business. Lots of business to be done. The problem I see is a lot of Black Americans with ideas, and those things don't fit.
Okay, guys, make sure you hit that like button. We're gonna Amarah, real quick. So what we'll do, Amarah, give people share with people your background story, where you come from, how long you've been with Kenya, for those who are new to the platform. Also, guys, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you share. Make sure you subscribe. Also, next tour is coming up March 20th through the 26th. Back to Nigeria. If you're interested, just go to dynastymir.com, send me a message, and I'll respond back. But Amarah, go ahead and share your story. And then, guys, we'll take a couple callers. So if you're interested in calling in and asking Amarah and myself a question, I'll put the email in the chat room. Send me email, uhuru at searchforuhuru.com. Uhuru at searchforuhuru.com. Send me email, and then we'll get you on. We'll take a couple people. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Famfu Molao, thank you for joining. Everyone, Caroline, thank you so much for joining. But Amarah, if you can share with everybody your, where you come from and how you ended up in Kenya.
Okay, I'm originally from Los Angeles, California, born and raised, and I became Black conscious in 1980 officially, and just a trip. Although I knew in 1987 I was going to come to Africa, going to come to Kenya, and then I met a lot of Kenyan friends in Los Angeles. There's a football match.
Amarah, there's a lot of background noise, like a ton of background noise.
Yeah, there's a football match. There's a football match next door, so when they go score a goal, you're gonna hear a lot of people.
Oh, well, go ahead. Try it, I guess.
Anyway,
you have earphones on?
I've got earphones on.
Can you kind of hold your mic up to your mouth a little bit more? Pause.
I don't know if it's this one.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah,
okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, I knew right away that I met a lot of Kenyan friends, and then that helped me to smooth my chance to go into Kenya in 1996. So I've been doing business and raising family and all of the things that Kenyans do here in Kenya for the last 21 years. And I've also traveled to other African countries to search out and see if Kenya was to be the best place for me. And I discovered that out of the countries that I had saw through East and Southern Africa, Kenya was one of the best countries. And definitely for Black Americans. In 2005, I wrote a book moving into doing business in modern Africa, and waiting on you guys, because as I wrote in my book, this is the only solution. And what I had said back then is now becoming more and more obvious as we move forward. So that's my basic background. I'm living in Mombasa, Kenya right now, and loving it. And I just don't see why people don't come and make the choice. But there's a lot of problems with debt, and the justice system has a lot of our people tied up, and a lot of people are hanging on to the promise of retirement funds and things like that. Some of them are they stay on the job as much as they possibly can. For that, I can just say that it doesn't cost a lot of money to live in Africa. And it doesn't cost a lot of money to live. I mean, right now we've been seeing round trip tickets to Kenya for under $600. So it's just a matter of you, taking the point seriously. I think every African American should get their passport. That's the first step. Don't drive by the post office without going in and getting that application. Get that out the way, and then you'll be pretty much set. You start things to move towards coming to the so some Black Americans have come here so far with me. There's so many that are saying that they're going to be coming very soon. And one guy is coming in the next couple of weeks. So we'll be doing interviews with them, and that's what we do on my channel.
All right, cool. Guys, if you want to call in, send me an email. We'll take a couple calls. Search for who@gmail.com. Search for who@gmail.com. All right, let's see here. The Nappy Yankee. We're going to start with you. All right, so Nappy Yankee, Pan-Africanism Strikes Back, and Jonas. We'll go ahead and let you three on. You have one question. Shima, thank you for the super chat, brother. Thank you for the super chat. Let me send this link to you guys. Again, hit that like button. Hit that like button and please share. Here we go. All right, Nappy Yankee, I just sent the link to you. Just sent the link. So we're waiting on you. Jonas, I'm gonna send you the link next, brother. And then Pan-Africanism Strikes Back, then we got you. So Nappy Yankee, we're waiting on you, brother. Let's see here. Jonas, I'm gonna go ahead and send you a link now so you'll have it. All right, so like I said, I just sent the link out. I'm waiting for you brothers to hop on. And then let's see here. Pan-Africanism Strikes Back. I'm gonna go ahead and send you a link now too. All right, so I'm just waiting for you brothers to come on. All right, go ahead, Amara. We'll go ahead until.
I'm okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, right. Just teasing me. Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to say, which is not very popular, is about African Americans looking at Ghana, and nowadays looking at the Gambia destinations for their first trips to Africa. And I wanted to say that definitely. Those countries are small countries, and Gambia is the smallest country, and they don't have a lot of economic opportunities for us as Black who want to come to Africa, see a way forward to see if they can live there. And I get a lot of flack from that, but I mean, I stand by it because I know that there are a lot of Black Americans that have come to Ghana, and they'll be going to Gambia, thinking that every African place is just the same, and it's not the case. And we have to put ourselves someplace where there's an economic support system that can handle us. But some of you are coming with small children like 10, 11, but in 10 years we're gonna be grown. And if you put them in the Gambia, there's no economic, there's no opportunities for them to grow or start to do business where they can really support themselves. Agribusiness is 90% of Gambia is agribusiness, and there's only 2 million people in the country. That means there's like 1 million adults. Everybody knows everybody. There's not enough industries to support us as far as an urban lifestyle, which we are used to. And I want people to investigate well when they start talking about land is cheap. Yeah, but if it don't have running water and don't have electricity, that could be one of the main reasons why it's cheap, and you could end up finding yourself spending a lot of money for a place you don't want to really live in.
All right, Pan-Africanism Strikes Back. Go ahead, brother.
Hey, I just wanted to make a quick statement. I was just going to talk about the ADOS and the FBA. Basically, the people who identify with ADOS, or FBA are just people who majority of them are older people who grew up during the time of the civil rights movement or just after that movement. Of course, they'll identify with it because it's something that they were brought up in. So it's like the system just continuously cycles the same type of movements that capitalize or monetize or tap into Black trauma. So what it really is all this trauma that hasn't been dealt with over the decades, where Black people felt like they were wronged and they deserve some type of reparation or apology or whatever from the government. It's just happening to that same old feeling. And now it's growing because they found two people who are influential enough to basically add a flame to that waiting fuel. And so like Tariq Nasheed, he was a part of ADOS for a little while, but he didn't want to lose his followers to another leader, Antonio Moore and Yvette Carnell. So what he decided to do, and it's a typical military tactic, he decided to create his own brand where he can so he can keep his followers and pull weak-minded followers from ADOS. And it seems to be working to an extent because some people are like, oh, I'm foundational Black American. So he just he just stole the idea and branded it with his own name and marketing acumen.
All right, brother. We appreciate it, man. Thank you. Brother. You got a channel too, don't you?
Pan-Africanism Strikes Back. The way you pronounce that name it has a click in it. I got it when I was in South Africa from some Zulus. It's Mbile. So it's like a Mbile, but that, thank you for having me on.
No problem, brother. Hey, Lou Major. Okay, listen, Lou Major. I had to mute you for a second, Amiraj. Just the background noise is just too much. I had to mute you for a second.
I'm in it's pretty much party.
All right, Lou Major. Now listen, brother. I'm gonna send you a link. Lou Major, don't get too wild, Lou Major. I'm gonna send you the link. Lou Major, I just sent you the link. Brother Jonas, I'm gonna bring you on right now. Jonas, go ahead, brother.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, good.
Go ahead,
first of all, Brother Dinas, thank you so much for having me on, and thank you for the good work that you're doing.
Oh, I appreciate it, brother.
I don't know why, after 400 years of dealing with white people, we never learn. If our history with white people has taught us anything, it is that whenever they give us one thing with their right hand, they immediately find ways to take it away with the left hand. Even if they give us, or they give the ADOS movement or the ADOS people reparations,
right?
You can bet your last dollar that they will find ways, means to get it right back. Absolutely. When they gave you the right to vote, immediately that they gave you the right to vote, they were finding ways to take it back from you. After Martin Luther King had his speech on I Have a Dream, and about Black boys and white girls holding hands together. Now, where is the dream? Are you integrated with them, or are you right back in your Black communities and your Black neighborhoods and your Black schools and Black everything? So to me, the ADOS movement is nothing but I Have a Dream 2.0. It's the same thing all over again. Depending on government to do for you what you can conveniently do for yourself. I hope that reparations will be paid, but I fear that even if it's paid, it will go right back into their hands. Secondly, if you notice, Brother Dinas, because you have traveled all over the continent, you notice that the movement, there's more steam behind the repatriation movement than there is behind the ADS movement. Because everybody knows that that's a losing battle. We have been there, done that. everywhere people are talking about Africa. Right now, as I speak, I am actually informed that visas to Ghana at the US, the Ghana embassy in the US, have actually run out. They have run out because so many.
Yeah, I read that.
Good. Yes, exactly. They have run out because so many people are actually traveling this December back to Ghana. That tells you something. It tells you that people are actually looking down towards them. And those of you who are looking towards US government are going to lose out in the end. I was reading an article by Forbes, in a Forbes magazine, and they described Africa as the last frontier. They describe Africa as the last frontier in the battle for economic supremacy. Now, the Chinese are here. If you notice, Russia is trying to get its leg inside the door to compete against China. It's trying to reassert itself. The EU is trying to reassert itself. You saw a couple of months ago that then Prime Minister of the UK, Theresa May, dancing in Kenya. Now, whenever you see white people of high stature making a fool of themselves, hello?
Yeah, go ahead. We're here.
Okay, so whenever you see people dancing, white folks dancing, you know that they're up to something. And so I don't know why we are not learning. Africa is now the second fastest region in the world in terms of growth, economic growth. It has 10 of the most fastest economies. It is the most urbanized continent in terms of rate of development of the urban population. It is the last frontier. The people who control Africa within the next decade are the people who will control the world in the next 50 to 60 or 100 years. Now the question is, what are we as Black people doing to position ourselves to control the resources of Africa? And I think that is where our focus should lie. The ADOS, FBA, whatever they want to call themselves, they have more acronyms than the LGBTQ community. I mean, to me, it's just a waste of time. It's not going to work out. Africa is the next frontier, and we have to make sure that we grab it and ensure that all the resources and the benefits thereof are given to us.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna bring Nappy Yankee and then Lou Major. I'm gonna bring Lou Major. Don't go too crazy, Lou Major. But let me bring Nappy Yankee on first, and then I'm gonna bring Lou Major, brother Lou Major on.
Peace. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. I'm gonna go ahead and mute you again, Rahh. Go ahead.
All right. Peace, Dynast. Peace, Rahh. Just want to throw a question out to Rahh regarding the ADOS movement, which is basically what it is right now, and the Fuckboy Association as well. Just watching it unravel, I find I do have pleasure out of it. But I just want to ask Rahh this: what I've noticed about the ADOS movement, okay, and really the FBA movement. On one side, they do everything they can not to call themselves African.
Yeah.
You understand? Everything they can do. They're American. They're, foundational Blacks, which makes no sense, by the way, because you really didn't build anything. You were brought here as slaves. Or, you're American descendants. It's like everything you can to classify yourself as anything but African. And on the other side, you blame everybody who's Black, mainly foreign Blacks, and you do everything you can not to place the blame on Europeans. All right. And I just want him to speak a little bit on that dynamic where, I knew it was an integrationist movement from the beginning, but just how far they're going to, almost like tapping, the massive Billy Bob on the shoulder, like, no, look, we're really the good Negroes out of these other Negroes. It's crazy. It's really crazy how far they go. And I just want Rahh to speak on that. Like I said, it's the ADOS movement. It's going to be gone by next year, but that's the only question I had. And thanks a lot, and keep up all the good work.
I appreciate it, brother. Yeah, go ahead and respond.
One of the good things about living in for so many years, I'm not shackled by race. I can talk about white people without having, if my boss is going to hear the show or not, or any kind of type of repercussion. Yeah, the facts are the facts. Come to realize it clearly that white people and the American government is white people are behind the continual oppression that we face in America. Now, how you gonna be 14% of the population and then you only got, as Dr. Claude Anderson said, 0.5% of the wealth? Somebody's doing something. Your black children and telling them you can't buy that toy to that particular school. You can't have those type of sneakers while you're busy having that. The connection between that and living in what is supposed to be the most largest economy in the world, but you're not benefiting from it. You get what I'm saying? So is something that we as African Americans also need to kind of look at. You're working and you're ready to work and you going to work every day. You got debt and the debt is increasing. Some hidden hand is there that has created you into something consumer, but not somebody that can actually save money and go out for a bigger life. Now, I mean, in 2008 we lost 50%. Black people lost 50% of their homes. 50% of black people lost 2008 crisis. Nobody want to talk. Leave about that's rare. But the fact that we are walking around scared of the police, that's something that's to me it's just sickening. How I gotta walk around and I give me 40 acres of a mule and they didn't give me nothing. I can understand ADOS movement. It's true, but they never gonna give it to us. And even if they gave it to black communities, the money, it just goes right back into the hands of whites. Another thing is that what these people are not really telling you is that if somehow this magical check came out and every black person was given $100,000, sneakers would go up, the price of fried chicken would go, the price of Cadillacs would go up. So you see, you're joking. You wouldn't. Like you put out some billions of these checks and it's just gonna go out to buy you a flat screen TV. There ain't gonna be no Black Friday sale. It's gonna be they'll double the price, and they're gonna look at you and say, "Oh well." And you've been looking at that big screen TV for so long, you just say, "Okay, here you go," and you don't have your money gone. So the whole end of the scenario of getting reparations money is just like going to heaven. People think heaven is a great place, but imagine all your needs are met. So you like bling bling, give me a hamburger. Bling bling, 2 minutes later, give me a piece of fried chicken. Now, how long you think you're gonna do that before you get tired of fried chicken and hamburger? How long you gonna get before you get tired of getting all your needs met? Huh? Heaven is not heaven. Heaven is hell. And I'm here to tell you. So it's what makes us thrive is having a good woman we can satisfy. We want to make her happy. We want to have our children be running around the house happy. This is the real joy of life. This is what I see in Africa today. It's not all about who got the nice new car. You run around 10 blacks got brand new cars. The bank, you do sit out there, sit on the car talking about, yeah, it's mine. It's only loaned to you. You see, and then you're in debt. So we need to get out of that, and we need to see it for what it is. It's just an appeasement. And then the last thing I will say on that issue is American life in general. I mean, if you make big money in America, because everybody, that's what the whole thing is about. What you do with the money? To do in America with the money? Buy you some chick. Go get up and eat and drink and party. I mean, if you got big money, how many black people would sit up and say, "Let me go with a mentor that can help me with my finances"? They won't. You says, look what the day is. Go look at Holyfield and Tyson and see what happens. At the end of the day, if you don't have financial, Boyce Watkins is right about the financial understanding, but he's wrong in trying to implement it in America. You should take that financial information and implement it in Africa, and then you'll be far better off, and you'll be around your own people, and you'll be in a place where you have your own community, and not everybody, but the majority of people are family orientated. So you don't just get out and go drink your money away every day. You bring your money home and you pay your school fees. You take your kids out, you take your family out. You make your kids. And this is the beauty of it. Now I'm living that. I couldn't trade that for anything in the world. So that's why I wanted to say on that we have to end the end game of it. At the end of the day, what's the end? America, and she's sinking. That generation is going to be poorer than the generation for the first time ever in American history. The next generation is poorer than the one previous. Now you heard that, but you ain't lived it yet. But it's coming as you start to get your kids grow up, and they're talking about going out for work and looking for jobs. There's nothing, or there's nothing hurt me more. I love my son to death. I raise him. I put him to school. I give him all of the all the knowledge I can give him, and then he got to work at McDonald's. You think that's jokes? No, I built this country. I built America. That's bullshit. And I don't care what they say. I can't fight them. Damn sure don't have to state it. And that's my take on the issue.
Oh, cool. All right, let's get I know you got to log off soon, Rahh, but let's get brother Lou Major on. Lou, hold on, Lou.
Yeah, I know. Lou. Don't say anything crazy. I got you.
Lou. Okay, go ahead, Lou. Go ahead.
You got to cut me some slack, man. I don't. First of all, I don't really think I say anything that particularly crazy, but I do understand that one time you had to take a show down, so I am understanding of that. My thoughts on ADOS and FBA, both of those organizations.
Have you been keeping up with the plantation fighting, the infighting on the plantation?
I've seen it happen. Am I sitting there like, oh my God, I'm going to invest a lot of time to understand this issue? Obviously not. Because what I've kind of concluded about ADOS is, and you might even think, oh, this sounds crazy or whatever, but I really think that this is some kind of a government, plant, because, and I say this because of the ridiculousness of it, simply because of the fact that these people, you have to understand what they're arguing. They're saying that because of the fact that they were bought here as slaves, enslaved, and all this stuff, so therefore they're entitled to something, and they're right. Their argument in and of itself is right, but my whole point is, it has nothing to do with going back to Africa, reconnecting with your roots, and it has even less to do with the fact that you begging white people for them to do something for you is just re-implementing the same strategy that has Black America where it's at today. And there's two things that I think that I kind of am seeing is fairly evident from the ADOS movement. The fact that the first things first is it says that there needs to be a mindset change within Black America as a whole. At some point, there has to be a point where Black America gets tired of begging. When that's going to happen, I couldn't possibly tell you, but that has to happen, because the continuation of begging white people for things. What I don't, and the reason I think that people think that begging is the way to go is two things. Number one, they see that it worked with the feminist movement.
They necessarily don't say it's begging. It's owed. They're getting
you know what? Listen, let me explain something to you, Dinus. If I owe you $10, Dinus, that's my problem. If I owe you $10 million, that's your problem. So in other words, you telling me that if you loaned me 10 million or whatever, or I took $10 million from you, and you're saying to me, you owe me $10 million. You know what? That's true. I do owe you $10 million. What are you willing to do to go get that $10 million from me? So, for example, Dinus, you're saying it's owed. You're absolutely right. It is owed. What are Black Americans willing to actually do to get that money? If you're not willing to pay the price to get that money, then stop talking about how you're owed that money. Because one of the things that I think needs to be understood is I think a lot of black people in America assume that when they're doing all this begging and all this emotional grandstanding about how much they've been wronged with enslavement and Jim Crow and all these things, I think there's an assumption on their part that to the white people hearing that, they feel shame. And in some cases, they do feel shame. But what I also think you need to understand is that for a lot of white people, they see joy in Black suffering. When they see a Black person being humiliated by the police, they imagine themselves doing that because they probably feel powerful from doing that. When a Black man especially is crying because of his pain, there's a lot of white people who feel joy about that. And I'll give you a good example, because if they didn't feel joy about it, remember a couple of weeks ago, a white man just got arrested and is just got sentenced to 10 years for enslaving a mentally retarded Black man for 17 years. And if you actually see his mugshot, he's smiling. He's proud of what he's done. You have 14-year-old white kids taking pictures of other 14-year-old Black kids and saying slave for sale. You have Richard Spencer talking about how his ancestors enslaved our ancestors. They're not ashamed of what they've done to us. They're proud of it. And so when you sit there and you're like, oh my God, you did this, what you don't realize is that makes them feel good. You're giving them a sense of satisfaction by allowing them to know that they have that type of power over you to this very day. They like the idea of the fact that you need their validation approval so much that when they don't give it to you, it hurts you. They like that. And we give them the satisfaction every day when we keep begging them for things. Here's the deal. ADOS, FBA, they're talking about reparations. Ever since Marianne Williamson was dropped out, has any politician been talking about reparations?
No.
Does it come up in any of these debates? Is
No.
that even a topic of conversation? The reality is ADOS is sitting there talking about how they're owed reparations, which they are, right?
All right.
And no one else cares. But while you're sitting there doing that, you're causing division amongst your own people. And it does seem rather convenient that this movement happened to take off right when the Back to Africa movement started to take off.
Facts.
While all at the same time, they go ahead and they get rid of the AU ambassador that was really pushing this idea forward. When we had Wakanda 1 and Wakanda 2 going, when things were actually happening, suddenly she gets fired and this ADOS movement shows up and is creating confusion. And we fought for it over and over and over again because we still don't get how the world really works. I think most Black Americans seem to still believe that life is about right and wrong, good guy and bad guy, that there's this dualistic reality. There is no dualistic reality. It's about survival. Okay, if the line is there's a famous guitarist named Robert Smith, and you should read what he says about the Africans. I could pull it up and read it to you. But what we seem to not realize is he said one thing is, if the lion let go of the gazelle, then it would be the lion who would starve. African people keep their lions at home. They sell everything to the highest bidder, even the land. They don't look out for their own interest. And Black Americans are particularly diseased, but Amin Ra, where you and I fall in disagreement is the fact that you seem to act as if Africans are not buffoons as well. Keep in mind that Africans are still spending $6,500 a piece on wigs. That for the courts, for the judges and their lawyers, and lawyers in Europe are no longer doing that. They're still trying to be like white people. They still reject their own religions. They still reject their own cultural values. They still reject themselves. They still follow a white Jesus and think that Jesus is white. So the reality is, you feel like your kids are somehow better off, and they probably are, but they'll probably have an inferiority complex. Just like Black people in America, the only difference is they'll have some culture to go with it. Black people in America are so fucked up because they have no culture. They have no history. They don't know who they are. So they're constantly subject to abuse from white people. Kenyans may know who they are, but they think who they are is inherently inferior. That's why they worship a white Jesus. That's why they neglect their own ancestral languages. That's why they neglect their own religions. That's why they spend $6,500 a piece on money they don't have.
Let me ask this question. And this is what I'm starting to notice. I'm gonna let you back on, Amin Ra. It's just the background noise is too much. I noticed. Lou Major, are you still in Ghana?
Yes, of course.
Okay, Lou Major. I've never in my life, outside of South Africa, seen so many white people in Ghana, in an African country. I was just there 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know.
It was.
I actually happened to be in Nigeria when you were in Ghana. It's funny, and I should have hit you up.
And also too, can you explain the dynamic why, especially white missionaries, feel so comfortable going to places like Kenya and Uganda? Like that's
because
the place.
The people in those countries are uneducated, and so they don't know what happened, and so they look, and because of the fact they've been socialized for a long, long time with the image of white Jesus, those people think that white people are somehow good and they're friends. And so they swallow up and eat up everything these white people tell them. That's why a white guy could go to Kenya dressed as Jesus, and there's videos of him dancing around. Now, of course, the Kenyan government got him out of the country, but the fact that happened, right? There is a mindset issue throughout Black society everywhere, with the exception of maybe Rwanda. Rwanda has their shit together a little bit better than everybody else at this point. But there is issues with us globally. Okay, and this is a global problem. This is a global issue that needs to be resolved. Now, Africans are better Black people than Black Americans, but it's not because they're inherently better. It's because they happen to still have their culture. Black people in America don't have any culture, and they're stupid. Africans are just stupid. So the combination leads to a really bad result in America. And I shouldn't use the word stupid, ignorant, because there's a difference between stupid and ignorant. Both Black people have the ability to learn. They're simply deprived of information. Now, Black Americans, man, their case is particularly bad, but it's a long time, man. We have to still somehow remember that Black Americans have only been somewhat free in the United States since 1968, and most African countries have got decolonized around that time as well. So there's a lot of that. And what you see right now with Black America, for example, and you're watching this in these elections, is young Black Americans. They do understand. They're better than the previous generation, because, for example, if I was in America and I was a Black person, I was voting, I'd be voting for Bernie Sanders. But what you see, for example, is young Black people get that. Under 30, they're like, yeah, we want Bernie Sanders. But then the old Black people want Joe Biden, who is, to me, like pretty racist. But you have to understand, old Black people are not educated. They're not informed. They're not aware of things that's going on around them. They've been doing the same thing for a long time, and they're old. They're just like any typical old person. You also see the same thing in Africa. You see young Africans, they have a different mentality. They have a different energy about them. But old Africans, yeah, they got the inferiority complex. They treat white people better. They do all those things. And so there is that dichotomy. And so there is that thought of maybe this next generation might be better. But we all have to be fairly honest about the situation at hand. Amin Ra, I think him being in Africa was the right move, and I think him encouraging blacks to come back to Africa is correct. But he also has to be honest about the fact that if you think you're going to go to Africa and find these enlightened black people, no, man, you're going to be just as frustrated by, you know, the inferiority complex. I mean, look at South Africa. The fact that 8% of the population can control all the wealth in that country, and you'll see they'll have these riots and they'll destroy all the other black people's things, but won't destroy any of the white people's things. That's telling, right? That tells you about how these people think. Kenya, again, is spending $6,500 per wig, and all judges and lawyers have to wear them. And anybody who says this is ridiculous, they get met with ridiculous resistance because they like the feeling of having these wigs on. Just think about what the way you have to think as an individual to be willing to spend money your country doesn't have on wigs, right? So let's not pretend that there are not some serious issues. For the price of a wig, to give you some perspective, the price that they would spend on one wig, they could buy a mini tractor to improve ag production in their country. Because China sells these tractors for like $5,000. They spend $6,500 on a wig. So we have to think about these things. Spending millions of dollars on huge delegations to go to other countries when your people are still using hoes and picks and shovels to farm, and your ag production is not nearly where it needs to be. So let's not pretend like there's not some issues here. There are some good leaders like Tanzania. It spends money better. They do things better. That's why they'll probably in the long term be better off. Rwanda does things better, spends their money better. That's why they'll probably in the long term be better off. But let's not pretend that the rest of these African countries don't have some severe emotional and psychological issues as well. Now, I think when Tanzania and Rwanda start to pull ahead of everybody else, what you'll probably see is unrest throughout the rest of the African countries, because Tanzania and Rwanda will represent a proof that it can be done. Once people see that something can be done, what then happens is they start demanding it for themselves, especially when the person who did it looks just like them. So you're going to start to see people in Uganda demand better because Rwanda is so well off. People in Kenya is going to demand better because Tanzania is so well off. And of course, Ethiopia is doing well. So these countries that are doing their things correctly are going to force other countries around them to do things correctly, because the people within that country will not be willing to accept such inadequacy. And I believe Ghana, is in terms of West Africa is going to surpass Nigeria. I know you love Nigeria, but the incompetence of the government there, man, you have to acknowledge as a Nigerian is unacceptable. And I don't think it's going to change, because I think the Nigerian people's mentalities, as I've gotten there, they're docile. They don't even love their own country. They don't love their own land. They treat their country like it belongs to somebody else. They have no self-esteem or self-respect. They allow foreigners to come from the West to come into their countries, build businesses, not hire any locals, grab all the natural resources.
I disagree with that, Luke Major. I disagree with that. The majority of
fact, you can't disagree with the fact.
Nigeria, as far as black-owned businesses, is the blackest country I've been to.
That's true. Well, I'm not disagreeing with that. Nigerian people, to me, are some of the most impressive people in Africa. Like, if I was going to say, man, I'd love my kids to grow up around these Africans, it would be Nigerians. But let's not pretend that this government that they have is unacceptable. And here's what's even more unacceptable to me. It's not them having that government. Bad governments exist. It's the fact that the people of the country do nothing about it. Right? They don't take the streets and overthrow their government, which is what they probably need to do. The Nigerians probably need to overthrow their government. The South Africans probably need to overthrow their government as well, but they're not willing to do that. And so they just sit there, mumble amongst each other, or leave, or something to that effect, and go find success elsewhere, rather than saying, I'm going to hold my government accountable, get rid of them, and get better government. The Congo is constantly getting exploited by their government, but understand that Congolese people are extremely uneducated. I mean, you have to understand 75% of their population was murdered by one man, okay, which was King Leopold. They have a lot of excuses for being where they're at right now. Nigeria does not. It has a 200 million person population. It has some of the most. It's one of the most resource-rich parts of Africa. It's got oil.
I would say Nigeria probably has more resources than Congo.
Yes, and the biggest jewel of Nigeria is the people, right? These people are incredibly entrepreneurial and smart, and for them to have a population like that and a government that incompetent, that is not acceptable. Right. And they have the same problem. They believe in white Jesus, too. They have that inferiority complex as well. Until Black people globally get rid of this inferiority complex, until Black people globally start understanding that white people are not my friend. If you ever want evidence of what white people think of Black people, white people will go to a country like Rwanda, which is very developing fast. And what they'll do is they will go an hour outside of Kigali to the countryside, and they'll film that and say that's Rwanda. They'll literally drive past. You have to get to the countryside in Rwanda. You have to drive an hour outside of one of the cleanest, most well-organized cities probably in the world, and I've traveled the world. Okay, you have to drive a long way to get to the countryside, right, close to the Congolian border. They will do that. Film that and send that off and say that's Rwanda. They do the same thing in Tanzania. They do the same thing in every African country. White people enjoy consuming Black suffering. Black people are the only people who don't realize that white people enjoy seeing them suffer. A recent survey came out about Donald Trump's rise. Besides economic anxiety, one of the biggest anxiety that white people who voted for Trump had was the perception, it's not even a fact, was the perception that Black people were catching up to them economically. Just the perception drove white people to a state of depression, to the point that they're killing themselves at a higher rate than they've ever seen before. At the idea of Black men, in particular, catching up to them economically, right? So if white people, the idea of you being at the same level of them economically, the idea is enough for them to take radical, aggressive steps, even killing themselves. What do you think that means about how they feel when they see you suffer? And the fact that Black people still haven't figured that out yet, that and the inferiority complex, that's the biggest, that's what leads to ADOS movements, man. The ADOS movement, to me, I think is a government-inspired situation. I don't think that this is, Black people came up with this on their own. It was conveniently timed, and then I think it worked because of where Black people are at mentally right now. If until the mindset changes, we're gonna still have these problems, right? Until Black people stop hating everything that they are and everything that they've done, which is what they do. We hate ourselves. We hate, and when I say hate, I mean we hate our religions, we hate our countries, we hate our customs, we hate our clothing styles, we hate our art. Like everything we produce, we dislike. While at the same time, Blackamoor art, which is black art from back when during the Moorish dynasty, African Dogon and African art, African mask, African paintings, are some of the most in-demand pieces of art in the world, and it's consumed primarily by Europeans. But right. Black people will have nothing to do with their own art. That's how we think. We want Degas, we want Jacques-Louis David, we want Picasso, and that's great. But what white people want is
your Haitian boy, the artist. Help me out. You know what I'm talking about.
Basquiat.
Basquiat. It's his art in very high demand.
All by white people.
True.
I have a Basquiat, and it's expensive. It costs me a fortune, but white people like it. But Black people don't give a shit. Ask a Black person who Basquiat is. Most of them don't fucking know. They have no clue. Ask them who Picasso is. They know exactly who he is. Mm-hmm. Right? So that's the problem. It is a mental issue. It is a psychological issue that is deeply ingrained. And until we get over that and start understanding that white people are not our friend, right? I'm gonna put it to you like this. I am getting tired as a black person about hearing about how another black person got shot by the police, how another black woman got disrespected, or some bullshit happening to you, because it's always the same. Yeah, you got shot by the police. You're going to throw a riot. Oh my God, we got shot by the police. We're so tired of this. Maybe you'll get on the streets and scream and yell, don't shoot. And then 2 weeks later, everybody goes back to normal. The guy doesn't go to jail most of the time. And then you just complain to yourselves like, oh my God, I feel I'm so unsafe. Do you understand how much of a bitch you sound when you're sitting there talking about how you feel unsafe? You, a 6'5", 235-pound black man, are talking about how unsafe you feel? Right? Like, think about do you think white people hear that and say, oh my God, we're so wrong? They like that. They enjoy that you feel that way. That's what they want. That's why they keep doing that. Now, what if when a white person shot a police officer shot a black person, they knew that there was going to be an action behind that, whether it be economic something. There was going to be something real behind that. You think they would shoot you less? Yes. But when you don't do anything, you don't necessarily create an incentive for them to stop shooting you. Right? And so like that's the problem. I just feel like this Comcast case. I bet you most people watching this video right now is on Comcast.
Yeah.
You know that they discriminate against you racially and you still give them your money every month. So why are they going to stop discriminating against you when you're not going to do anything? Right? And that's all I had to say on the issue. Now I'm ready to take on the bashing that everybody's going to come and tell me about how I'm horrible or whatever else.
No, like a little major, you just spoke my mind. You know, it hurts, but it's the truth. It's the truth.
There's a book that I recommend anybody who wants to learn about things read. It's called Exit, Voice, or Loyalty. It's a book that talks about how people within a failing organization or state react to things, right? Like how that works. And so you have 4 courses of actions that people will typically take. The first course of action will be to exit. That will be to leave that organization, leave that group. The second will be the voice. That will be to talk. So that will be to say your frustrations, right? And then the final one will be loyalty. Black people are no different. The black race, for example, you get the people who exit. That's going to be the guy who moves out to the suburbs, marries a white woman, has mixed bred kids, and within 2 generations, he goes from black to white, right? That would be that guy. That's the guy who just gives up and says, fuck black people, I'm tired of it. Now, we'll call that guy cool, but we'll never ask why he left. We never ask, why did you do that? We just simply say, yeah, you're a coon, fuck him. Okay, fair enough. Then you got the guy who voices his frustration. That would be somebody like Kanye West. Kanye West, who 2 years ago black people loved. Kanye West, who got on national TV and said George Bush doesn't care about black people. Now Kanye West is the worst person in the world because Kanye West told the truth. Kanye West said slavery was a choice. And everybody got mad, but people didn't really think about what he said. It was a choice. A person cannot enslave you if you don't let them. It's the truth. You could beat me, you could harm me, but if I say I am not going to be enslaved by you, I am not going to do what you tell me to do. I'm not going to accept that role. There is nothing you can do to force me to do that except kill me. Right? Now, I understand why it's hard to hear Kanye West say that, because you didn't have to accept that you're the descendants of people who are willingly enslaved due to their fear. That's embarrassing. I understand. Okay? I'm a Haitian person, so I can say my people are an example of what happens when people say I am not going to be enslaved. Right? So the reality is Black Americans did decide to choose to be enslaved. Does that mean that they were bad? No, it just means that there were people trying to survive. Him saying that doesn't mean he doesn't love black people. Him saying that, saying, hey, we got to acknowledge that that's where we come from so we can do better going forward. He's trying to voice something better for us. But you see how we react, right? We need to cancel him. Fuck him. He's terrible, right? And then you have the people who are loyal. These are the people who are, I'm going to be loyal to black people no matter what, but they're not really helping anybody. The people who truly love black people are the people who are saying this has to change and are being honest about it, but they're the people who get most shunned by everybody else. And until these things change, man, it's over. You know, it's over. And Janine, you said, is it bad for black Americans to accept themselves politically in America and also invest in Africa? To answer your question, yes. Because first of all,
and then Lou, I want Holub to address this as well, because Holub will be perfect for this.
Here's my question: what are you setting up in America? What do you if white people are going to react by electing Donald Trump because of the fact they think you're pulling ahead? What do you think they're going to actually do if you set up something? What have they done every single time black people have set up something in America? They actively destroyed it. They're still trying to get people to dude. Black people turn their backs on Colin Kaepernick. Stephen A. Smith is getting on TV bashing Colin Kaepernick. Marcellus Wiley is saying Colin Kaepernick shouldn't have been speaking for black people because he wasn't black enough. What the hell are you going to set up when you have people who think that way? There's nothing for you there. There's no opportunity for you there. All there is an opportunity for you to go get a job and work for somebody else. Do you think if black people created something and it started to grow, do you think that would be allowed? Look at what they're doing to Byron Allen, who is completely self-made. They're trying to destroy him. Like, how is it that black people keep holding on to this hope? Oh, we could set something up. What's wrong with you? When are you going to get it? It's not your country. That is not your place. They don't want you there. They only want you there for the cheap labor and the fact that you have the ability to entertain them, and you serve as a reminder to them of their perception of superiority. They like seeing your poverty. They like seeing your struggle. They like seeing your fear. They like seeing you beg. What do you think we're trying to get Colin Kaepernick to do? To beg. To get on bended knee to say, please help me. They like that.
Oh, yeah.
When are you going to figure this out, black people? When? What is it going to take? Do they have to come on the street and start shooting you for you to figure it out? Because what I'm afraid of is you have to remember that black people are in concentrated, economically deprived pockets throughout the United States that are all near highways. The day that white people decide to exterminate you within the country, they will be able to barricade your exit, go right into your community where you're all heavily concentrated, or where you're in the suburbs where you're heavily outnumbered, and slaughter you. And I think that's when black people are going to figure it out, when the tanks and the machine guns and the soldiers are in their neighborhood shooting them. And the thing is, they're going to be shocked that it happened. But all of the signs are there. Anybody who looks at this situation can see it clearly, except the people that are in it. And the question is, what is it going to take for you to figure it out?
No, but Lil Major, they're already doing it now. Look at the police shooting that happens every week in the United States of America. I don't know how many stories I've done, but I know I've done a lot. Okay, so police is even doing the job. They don't even need the army. The police is doing the shooting and killing.
But you know, compared to the real quickly, Major. Let hold up. Go ahead, hold up.
Yo, peace, everybody.
Peace.
I just want to say this. It's like one of the things that I learned like years ago is that the African epistemology is taking something complicated and making it simple. And the European epistemology is taking something simple and making it complicated, because they think if you make it complicated, that shows how intelligent you are. And so what I learned from that is you got to know, if you want the right answer, you got to ask the right question. So I want to just give you a story that was told to us by a Rwandan when we were in Rwanda. And I think this pretty much sums up everything. They have a German company there, and they were at a bank. I think it was a German bank in Rwanda. And they got some internal emails. One of the women in the bank called the Rwandans monkeys. and it got out on the public, and everybody found out about it. Now, what made this interesting is that there's really no discrimination laws in Rwanda because they're all black. So they couldn't. There wasn't any law that they can do to, to jail her or anything like that. So guess what they did? They did the Dolomite on her. You've got 24 hours to leave town, and 23 of them are already gone. So that's all I have to say about that.
Hold up. One thing you have to notice about Rwanda when you were there, though, hold up, is the fact that there is a completely different mentality amongst Rwandans about how they see themselves, how they see their country, versus every other African state. They have a sense of pride to be Rwandan. They have a sense of pride of their own blackness.
You know why, right?
I'm sure you know that in Rwanda.
Yeah, you know why, right?
Go ahead, tell me, because I'd like to figure out what they're doing so we can maybe do it everywhere else.
Well, the reason why I believe the reason why African Americans have this affinity for Rwanda is because Rwanda knows what it's like to get fucked.
Genocide, yeah.
They got fucked by the international community, and what they have like one of the things like I was trying to tell people that were over there, like they were very suspicious of foreign involvement. And I said, I'm not worried about Rwanda because Rwandans work for their own self-interest. You better start worrying about our black asses here in America before you start giving advice to them. They already know what it's like to get fucked over, so they're making damn sure that phrase "never again" is going to apply to them. So I have no issues with, like, I'm very confident in Rwandans' ability to take care of themselves. Now, Black Americans, this FBA and ADOS shit, that's another story. But I said I told you that story just specifically for a reason. I want to know what these ADOS and FBA dudes, what in your perfect world, who controls the water supply? In your perfect world, who controls the roads and the highways where you live? In your perfect world, who controls the electricity, the gas? Who controls the waste management system? In your perfect world, who controls your communication system? Because we start talking about this shit and using Rwanda and other countries as an example of what it's like to be in a black-run country, and they look at us like we're crazy. They mock us. But in your world, let's keep it real. You want the white man to take care of it. If it snows, you don't want to go and get your companies and clear out the snow. You want to sit in your house or sit in your apartment with your heat on and let the white man take care of it. So what I learned by being in Rwanda, I learned just how much of fucking cowards these black men are here in America that identify themselves as these dumbass groups. That have zero interest in having any control over anything in the place that they live. They fucked up and put me in a black country. They let me go to a black country. You put me in a black country. I thought that's what y'all wanted. Y'all wanted me to go to Africa. Well, I've been to Africa, and I've been to a place where it was nothing but black people running shit. So what did you think was going to happen? I was going to change my fucking mind? If anything, it's helped strengthen my reserve.
Hold up, you're absolutely right. But you know what you would be classified as? You're a person whose voice, you're a voice person, right? And the exit voice, loyalty. Hold up, my one thing I'm almost certain of by your passion is that you love black people. As I love black people. Do you know how many times when I've gotten on Dynas's thing and I've said stuff, how many times comments have been like, oh, he sounds like a plant, he don't love black people, etc., etc. This is one of the reasons why today I'm actually showing my face, because typically I didn't do that. But today I did it so people could see clear as day that I am black, very, very black, and dashingly handsome as well. Okay. and I made sure to do that because I need people to understand that I am black. I'm proud of being black. I love my race. I have probably one of the largest collections of Moorish paintings you'll ever see in your life. Okay. And the reality is, at the same time, there is a problem. And if nobody wants to talk about it, and what I think, for example, a guy like Holub, This guy's mad. Why is he mad? Because he loves his people. Of course he's mad. If you weren't mad, if you're a black person and you live your life every single day under the conditions that we live under, and you're not mad and you're not upset, then I have questions about you. I need to understand what's wrong with you. Do you love black people?
Right.
Right? Because at the end of the day, if you are not mad, then you're saying to me that you believe that this is what we deserve.
He went out.
Yeah, I think we lost him. Guys, hit that like button. Make sure you hit that like button as you come to the chat room. Please subscribe if you're new. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Go ahead, hold up. I think Lou Major. I think you muted yourself. Hold on, Lou. Hold on.
Yeah, someone is saying that. How long do you think that he was saying about 40 million African Americans who move to the continent? How long would African countries accept that? Yo, Africa is the biggest continent.
Can I address that?
Oh yeah. Hold it, go on.
Let me address that. And this is coming straight from the fucking source. This is why nobody can't say shit to me. Nobody can't say a goddamn thing to me. We sat down with the head of Rwandan business development. We sat down with Rwandan real estate developers. We sat down with fucking senators. And each one of them said the same exact thing. They said, we can do business with anybody. Because there's a lot of groups that want to do business with Rwanda because Rwanda is safe in terms of investments and stuff like that. But we want to do business with you.
That is 100% true. Do you know how many sweetheart deals have been given to me where white people have offered more money when it comes to the acquisition of land and resources?
Right.
Like I will say this about Africans. They have all types of issues. They really do. But for the most part, bro, they hate white. They're like you're more educated black African, like not the uneducated African, which is the majority. We're talking about the 30% that are educated. There is a group of them that have a certain vitriol for white people, especially in Rwanda. Paul Kagame, I can tell you this much, does not like white people at all. Right? Like he doesn't
exactly.
He doesn't like these people at all. Like you can see it when he's in interviews. Go watch Paul Kagame when he's in interviews with people from Europe. You can see the vitriol on his face.
You can see the body language. He's like, get out of here.
It is like this guy hates these people, man. And I'm gonna tell you something right now. You know that the second Rwanda does not need Europeans for anything, they're gonna get rid of them. It is very, very, very clear. Okay, and so like you could go to Rwanda, you could go to Africa and have less money than your white counterpart, and you will be given preferential opportunity.
Exactly.
Here's something I don't understand about Black Americans in general. And you know what? Maybe people say I'm Haitian, so therefore I don't have the right to speak. So then I want a Black American to explain this to me. We have 40,000. Black Americans have 40,000 highly skilled farmers who have been run off their land or had their land stolen from them. 60% of the world's arable land is in Africa. The most valuable resource in the world is water, and Africa has 30% of it.
Yep.
They want to sell the land to Black farmers. They want to do that. Okay? Yes. Can somebody explain to me why there are 40,000 Black African American farmers who have had their land stolen to them in America and are rather argue about this land in America than to move to Africa where there's a whole bunch of better land that you can get and they want to sell it to you? In Ghana, bro, they'll do some shit like they'll lease you 5,000 acres of land for like $2,500 for a year. And then you could farm, collect the harvest, sell off your harvest, then buy the land the very next year.
Yo, they've cut the red tape in Rwanda so much that if you have a business and you want to get started in their country, the process is 6 fucking hours.
If you go directly to the it's 20 minutes. Hold up. That's if you did it online. If you
Right.
go to the public, it's 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay?
That's
Land
true.
in Rwanda is extremely cheap as well.
Wow.
And you know why? You know why I can answer that question for you is because we bought into the propaganda that Africans hate us. Africans don't like us. I was there. It's bullshit. And anybody that tries to say that bullshit, don't say it around me. Don't say it around me because I was there. You are full of shit. You bootlicking niggas.
Whole lipsism. Oh yeah.
Completely justifiable because the love of your people leads you to anger. Because here's the thing about it is, as I've kind of grown into myself, I'm not angry really much with white people anymore. White people are white people. White people are gonna be white.
Exactly.
White people are trying to destroy China because China's beating them at their own game. White people are white people. They're gonna do fuck shit to everybody.
Being mad at white people is like being mad at a black mamba snake.
Right. What I'm mad at is black people. No, it's true. Like,
Why that snake biting so much? I don't know why that snake is so poisonous.
Right. That's who they are. That's them. Right. What I'm mad at is black people. Here's something that I need people to understand about black people. We have 254 of our own universities, and we had more before. We have experts in literally every field. If you want to talk about telecommunications, we got Freddie Figures. Okay? You want to talk about farmers, we got 40,000 of them. Just in the United States alone, we got 254 universities that have produced everything from president to Supreme Court justices and everything else. We've got our own medical schools. Okay? But then most importantly, social capital-wise, we have the highest social capital of any racial group on the planet. Every young males from every group look to our males, even though we're poor, as to what masculinity is. So we are the tastemakers of society. We control what's cool clothing-wise. We control what's cool food-wise, car-wise, everything-wise. Our music is the most listened to and consumed on the planet. If there is any group, by the way, we're not even talking about our diaspora, which is over 240 million deep, and then we have the richest fucking continent on the world. If there's any group that truly does not need white people, if there was ever a group that really does not need white people for anything, it is us.
Yo, can I address this? Oh, I'm trying to keep it together, Dynass. I'm trying.
Yeah, you know, sometimes we be on your Lou Major too.
This guy asked this question, and I want to answer this because I've answered it so many fucking times that it's annoying.
Where's the land?
Olip, I saw it too. I just don't want to say anything, but just go ahead, Olip.
He says, I asked, how long will it take to transfer 30 to 40 million black people to Africa?
Seriously.
What countries can absorb that many people? Let me just say this. God damn it, man. Who said anything about transferring all black people over to Africa? Who said that? Where y'all getting this straw man from? We got about, like I said, I'll say this again. I feel like I'm like a fucking broken record. We got about 50 million black people here approximately in America. How many people is having the Africa conversation out of that demographic? Yeah. What, 2%?
Not less than that.
Less than 1%.
Less than 1%. So where's this straw man come up that we trying to transfer every black person in America over to the continent?
Wow.
In addition to this, I should also point this out. Even if we were going to do that, let's just say we were going to do that. Namibia is a huge country, only has 2 million people in it. Botswana only has 2 million people in it. The East, Dar es Salaam is projected by 2050 to have 75 million people in it, and that's just one city.
Right.
Dar es Salaam is projected to have 75 million people by 2050.
Wow.
It's projected to go from a 5 million person city to 75 million because that's how much Tanzania is growing. That's why I'm saying Tanzania and Rwanda may be what forces other African countries. And you're already seeing it right now.
From your mouth to the creator's ears, boy. From your mouth to the creator's ears, because that's what I'm hoping.
Well, in all fairness to Africans, I do try to be fair. For example, there's been a negotiation between the East African Bloc and the European Union that's been going on, for the past 5 or 6 years. 2016, the European Union tried to strong arm and make their final deal, whatever that is, which would have been a deal that would have fucked over, the East Africans. And of course, Kenyans, like the dummies they are, they're like, well, we'll sign, and but Dr. Magufuli was the only person who's like, no, we're not signing this. This is a bad deal. And guess what? The Eastern Bloc is held. The Kenyans want to sign. The Ugandans want to sign. But because Tanzania is saying we're not going to sign, they have not signed. Let's give them credit. The Europeans have tried to tear apart and said, okay, Kenya, come and sign on your own. They've tried to start internal campaigns to try to get Kenyans to sign on their own. And they haven't betrayed the bloc. So there is some changes, and that's why I'm saying that I believe that the Tanzania and Rwanda will force the other countries to do better for really one reason, because right now most Africans genuinely believe that they are simply incapable of something better. There are a lot of Africans who think that. But when you see a place like Rwanda, or you see a place like Tanzania, for example, Tanzania has always been poorer than Kenya, and Tanzania is on pace to catch up to Kenya in terms of GDP level within the next 5 years, and will surpass them within the next 10. When you as a Kenyan, you're in your country and you're feeling good, and in your next door neighbor, Tanzania, who is way poorer than you, runs right by you and are getting better deals from the Chinese, etc., what's going to happen is the people there are going to say, they can do it, why can't we do it? Right? So I do believe that that's going to lead to some rebellions and some revolutions.
Let me just be a little petty right now. James Boy 78, you a bitch. Go smoke a blunt. Drink a 40, smoke a blunt, and go listen to Little Pump, you freaking idiot.
Look, Lagos alone is a population of like
22 billion.
24 million people. 22 million, all right, cool.
And it can still accept like at least 20 million African Americans to come in. Okay. Easy. So Nairobi too can fit for another 20 million African Americans that could fit in too, because Nairobi is one of their biggest.
Dude, observe the damn law. Before they fired that AU lady and the Wakanda 1 project was going, because what a lot of people didn't tell you is that Wakanda 1 was halfway funded by Black Americans, by the way. It was on its way to being fully funded. It was actually going to be a successful project. That one facility, which by the way required Zimbabwe and another country to give away land, they literally gave away land, would have held 5 million Blacks, Americans. And African countries were like literally willing to give away land. Like they didn't charge money. They were like, yo, yeah, you could take this land. And then Kenya and Tanzania were ready to give away land too.
Oh yeah.
They've got so much land that they'll give the shit away.
Yo,
there's a tribe that was willing, that is still now giving away 5,000 acres to Black Americans. Free. You just go there and sign some papers.
Yo,
no American government to do that for you.
I think the talking point has been smashed completely into the ground. This whole African Americans bullshit. You have all of these eyewitness reports right here. It's bullshit. And what it is, you know what? I want to address something that you were saying before. I want to address this. The reason why I don't get frustrated too much is because this isn't really, like you're saying, you wonder why people don't understand. These motherfuckers understand exactly what's going on. There's no confusion. There's no ideological difference. They freaking punks. They punks and they cowards. And the people that's the biggest punks and the biggest cowards got the biggest microphones in the Black community, in Black America. There's no confusion going on. It's like, well, damn, I wonder if having our own nation is the answer. They know exactly what the fucking answer is. But it's more profitable for them to stay here keeping their people on this misery merchant bullshit and this woe is me nonsense, instead of going places where you can actually build, where you can actually form diplomatic relationships, where you can actually go out and get land, get real estate, and do all of it. It's so much growth. Africa is full of expansion and growth that you can take advantage of. What's your pioneer shit going on here in America? Unless these people, the only thing that they can do in America is have some type of program where they try to redo their infrastructure. That's about it.
No, I think Popeye chicken party is what they will do anyway.
Well, again, and you know what's funny to me, man, is like, bro, a lot of people look at the Popeyes chicken stuff, and it is funny. It's funny. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and pretend it's not funny. And it's funny and it's sad. I mean, somebody stabbing somebody over a Popeyes chicken sandwich.
I like the body slamming and the suplexing. They doing WWE on people.
But the most obvious thing I think people need to think about is, has anybody ever thought about the fact that, why don't we just steal the Popeyes chicken business model and then move to Africa and create Wawa's chicken?
Yo, you just took. I came up with something. It was on Twitter. I wish I could add the tweet. But basically what I said was, this is the challenge for ADOS and for what is that? Foundational, whatever the fuck. A potato chip has 3 ingredients: potato, oil, and salt. I want you to make a national ADOS or to foundational Black American potato chip, and I'll shut my mouth. I won't say another word against you. Do that on a national level, and I'm done. You got me.
Like I said, this is it. Like I said, I'm inclined to believe that there's kind of a government, whether it's known or unknown, government kind of push on this, because it just doesn't make a lot of sense. It's so irrational that it's hard for me to. I know Black people have some issues. I know that, but it's hard for me to believe that they're that stupid. I mean, like,
no, they're not. They're not. Like I said, there is no ideological differences. They are cowards and punks. They know exactly what the solution is, and they don't want to do it because they're scared of white people, and they actually love white people.
Oh yeah.
Let's keep it real.
Yeah, and that's the problem. But no, what you just said was profound.
Hey, real quick, Mate. Janine Smith's on. She has a question for you. Go ahead, Janine.
For me? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Janine.
Hi. I'm trying to get in a place. Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry, my service is. But I just wanted to ask a more detailed question about what is it that why is it that Black Americans can't establish themselves and use their dual citizenship to, do some of the things that you guys are mentioning on the show today? Like, we all to Africa and invest and do these things. And so, like, just that they trying to survive here in America. Like myself, I'm not rich. I'm just learning through Dinah's channel all the things that a person that I work with, I'm going to go visit in Nigeria on Tuesday, actually.
That's a good story.
Way cheaper. I can do so much more stuff with my own personal money that I get, stipends that we keep. Like one of my daughters gets a stipend from her dad. So I'm getting like $800-900 a month, that a future for her in Africa. And a lot of us don't know this information unless we're tapped into people like Dynas and, some of the other companies. What is it? The BAIO or whatever Genesis is. If we don't know about those things, we don't know where we can spend our money. So I get the idea that that investing in Africa is the thing, but it does take money to do. Because you have access to a lot of capital here, no matter how you're getting it. of course, agree with Yvette Carnell and Tone Talks that we don't have any money. We just
That's crap.
on surviving in America, and America is obviously not friendly with us. So I do see that there's opportunity for Blacks, though, to get in powers of position to set ourselves up politically, which is why I do follow ADOS. It's about reparations. It's about setting yourself up politically to be able to, you know, to say where the money's going in your community. Basically, you're voting to say where the money's going. Like you see, the Chinese can come here, restaurants and open up food chains and all kind of things, cleaners. The Saudi Arabian people are able to come here and get all the parking garages. You see, Hispanics are taking over construction. It's like the reason why we're not able to get in these positions to do politically aware of even how to put ourselves in this. And there was a time we used to do that back in the 1800s. People like Washington Carver, who was able to set up all these schools, and the Frederick Douglasses and all the we were able to build these Tulsa, Oklahomas, is because they were politically aware. And not saying white people weren't still lynching and being raped. It wasn't enough to get capital to do what they needed to do, which that we can take, knowing the things that you guys know.
Janine, I'm going to be very, very.
Why is that such a bad thing?
No, for Janine, I'm going to. You said a lot of things there, and I listened very intently, and it's good that you asked me that question, because I suspect that if you had asked Holip that question, he would be a little bit less compassionate. But come
on.
but Janine, no, everybody stop laughing. No, everybody stop laughing, because Janine, what's clear here is, I feel like, and I don't want you to be offended, but I feel like what's happening here is, yes, there is a lot of ignorance, and I think what you just said here really presented that. So let me explain that to you. So one of the things you said that the Chinese come here and they get all these nail salons, and the Mexicans come here and they get all the construction, and these other groups come in and they get something. The first thing you said is, you said the word "get" as if it's given to them. The thing about it is, it's not given to them. What the reason that they are able to have these businesses,
they take it,
right, is number one, because of their connection through their homeland. But more importantly than that is, when a Mexican sets up a construction company, for example, he might be a guy who came from Mexico and he knows how to lay bricks, he knows how to lay tile and all of that stuff, right? So what he does is he lives in these communities, says, I lay brick and I lay tile. When one of the Mexicans in that community needs brick and tile laid, they call him. Okay? They will not call Bob's bricklayers. They will not call Tyrone's bricklayers. They're going to call Jose's bricklayer, which may be just some guy who lives with his family. And if he gets that work, then over time he hires another guy who also lays brick and tile. And then there's two of them. And then sooner or later, there's three, then there's four, then there's five. And then now they get themselves a space, and now they're a full-blown construction company. But their whole way that they got started was their community went to them and did business, right? Black people don't do that.
No, that's
right?
not correct. Wait, if I may interrupt.
That is correct. I understand that you emotionally feel that
the state that I live in the Seattle, Washington area, and I've seen these things firsthand. These people get contracts.
Anecdotal evidence that from your personal experiences.
They're not just part of what you're saying is true. Part of what you're saying is true to an extent.
Okay, you need to understand that in general, the numbers say that.
Yeah, they get contracts to do this, and they even have a political force. Like there's a Hispanic Black caucus that makes.
No, wait, Jenny, I need you. You asked me a question.
I'm sorry, it's cutting.
Janine, listen
cutting in and out. I can't. It's cutting in and out. I'm sorry. It keeps.
Okay, Janine, who are they getting these contracts from?
Hold, Janine, you got to let them finish because you're kind of long-winded with the question. So allow me.
Right. Janine, I'm going to ask you a quick question and just give me a quick answer. Janine, these contracts, Who are they getting them from?
White people.
Okay. Janine, I feel like you didn't listen to what I just said. So remember what I said about the Mexican contractor? The way he built his business, right, was from other Mexicans who would go to him exclusively. And then over time, his business grows within his own people. You just, whether you realized it or not, just reaffirmed what I just said, but said you disagreed. That, yeah, I'm in Washington and they're getting these contracts. Who are they getting them from? White people. No, I'm saying that if black people want to build their community, they have to have the same mindset of exclusivity that everyone else has, which is if I'm a Mexican and I need I grew up in Boston, Massachusetts. There's areas in Massachusetts. Lawrence is a good example. That pretty much the Latin community runs that community. In Lawrence, they have Uber, they have Lyft, they have regular taxis, and then they have this really ghetto, janky Latin-owned taxi company that is very expensive and has terrible service. But guess what? Every Latin, every Dominican, every Puerto Rican, everybody there, when they need to go somewhere, they will call that company first. And if that company tells them that they don't have a taxi available, then they'll use Uber. To this day, to now, and they'll pay literally 2 times more to do business with their own people. We as black people do not do that. Now you're sitting there saying, "Well, yeah, man, we got to get these contracts from these white people."
That's not
like,
what
think
I
about
said.
what you just said.
That's not what I said.
That's the problem. Now, the reality is you, for example, as a person, Janine, if you're getting $900 every single month, right? What the fuck are you doing in America? If I was getting $900 guaranteed every single month, for one thing, I'm not staying in Washington State, one of the most expensive states in the country, and then wonder why I'm struggling. The second thing is, do you understand what you could live with $900 a month in just about any African country?
I just said that was what I learned through Dynas's channel and from other people
Now,
speaking.
Janine,
So
I have a
it's
question.
something that I have learned
that,
and investigated myself. You're missing the point of my statement, though. My statement is because you just gave an example of these groups building what it is, these corporations and making money for themselves. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about these communities have established political access to be able. Yes, they have.
No,
Because if they, I'm sorry.
Let
me finish. Let me finish.
2% of the population have political strength in America.
They have. I didn't say they have.
Let me interject real quick. I can tell you right now, Chinese, Indians, and Arab are rarely involved politically. No,
they don't give a shit about American
politics. I'm sorry. I didn't say they're worried about voting. I said they have political access to be able to obtain contracts.
What does that mean?
I'm sorry. Let me finish. I'm saying these people, like, if you go to any major city, any parking garage that is here is owned by a Saudi Arabian person or a person of Middle Eastern descent. Most of the gas stations are owned this way too, as well as most of the nail salons here are Vietnamese. It's not that they just came here and said, "Hey, let's all crash the market and own all the Vietnamese or all the nail salons. Let's make them all for our community." It is they're doing this right now in California with the immigrants. The reason why Democrats are even talking about immigration laws and all this stuff is because they have flooded California with illegal immigrants, and enough of their people have become citizens that they are able to, and they have got on high political positions to be able to fight for non-illegal immigrants in this country so that they can have, so that they can get licensed, they can get away with certain things.
Janine, we have more black people in political office in America. We have literally Janine.
We're not one unit though. And we've always had this argument that we're not in unity. I'm not saying that.
Anything.
Can I finish? I didn't say that. I said, what is the problem with following ADOS and establishing ourselves politically? Because that's what ADOS is about. It's
Because
about political
They don't have.
governance. It's about political
wait, Janine, I'm going to ask you a question, and I need you to be as concise as possible.
ADS is just hated.
No, don't even say it. Janine, I'm going to ask you a question. I need you to be concise.
I'm just giving the basics. It's about political access and
Okay,
awareness.
All of the groups that she just mentioned, all the groups she just mentioned have a base of operations outside of America.
but
They
here's the
do.
deal, Helen. I don't think she understands what she's saying. So let's let her figure it out here. Janine, what does what do you mean when you say political access? Define that, and please be concise.
I'm saying that black people understand they need to unify as a political group to have a space at the table to make decisions for their own community. We don't have that access because we're all politically divided. You can't get the
Okay, so
California
Janine,
is because they are all one unit. The reason why the Chinese are able to do that is because they move as one unit. ADOS was about moving as
I have a
one
question.
unit.
no, Howard,
And it's about politics. It's not about if I am able to make decisions in my community and make sure my community has more money, I can make the personal decision to go to Africa if I want to. This isn't about saving everybody. This isn't about, you guys say this all the time. I watch this channel all the
Hey,
time.
Jenny,
And this isn't about saving everybody.
let me interject real quick. Let me interject real quick. So, number one, in order to have a seat at the table, you need to have a war chest, meaning you need to have money. Off the
We
top,
have money.
per the leaders, Yvette and Tone, black folks ain't got no money. Black
Right.
folks ain't got no money.
It's not.
I do this. Hey, the black folks ain't got no money.
It's not.
You know what the
She's not
irony
saying-
of?
I need
You know
to
how
talk
ironic that it is whenever I hear them say that. It's so ironic. Everybody talks about unity. How can you get more unified than having your own shit?
But Holland, give me a second here. Janine, the Chinese, the Arabs, all of these people. By the way, as a person who comes from an immigrant family, and most immigrants will tell you this, the way that they're able to accumulate so much wealth and resources in America is not through political access. It's not through political access at all. Matter of fact, most immigrant groups don't even care or nor rarely vote. Well, the way they acquire resources and
voting.
assets, for example, is listen, Janine, is I can tell you, for example, my personal family in Haiti, from Haiti and America. The reason that my family has so many houses and so many resources is here's what my mom, for example, worked her entire life cleaning old people's butts at a nursing home.
Okay.
Right?
Nigerians do the
But on
same when they
paper,
come here.
no, listen. But on paper, she's a millionaire. How did that happen? Well, I'll tell you. The way it happened is a whole bunch of Haitians, no, listen, a whole bunch of Haitians get together, a group of maybe 50 of them. What they do is all of them every single week is they take a little bit of their check and they put it into an account. They put that money into an account. They put that money into an account. They put that money into an account. And then what happens is every single month after a period of time, a name gets drawn out of the hat, as in people who've been contributing, and then they get all of the money that's been accumulated so they could go buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
But then even after they buy that house, that person continues to put that money into that account, and then the next person goes and buys the house.
Okay.
And then the next person goes and buys a house. And over time, all 50 of them have houses.
Okay.
And then they'll continue to support each other, and they'll help one open up a restaurant. And they'll help another open up a restaurant. And that's how they accumulate wealth. They don't go to the white man's bank. Right? And then when another Haitian comes into town from Haiti, he automatically can connect into that community because he can get a job cleaning dishes at a Haitian person's restaurant. He could get a job fixing houses in the Haitian community.
Okay,
Right?
and that's
Because
on a smaller level, correct? So at
Jenny,
some point, you can be able. The reason why I'm saying the Middle Easterns own all the gas stations and the parking garages in this country is because on a grander
Right.
level of what you're saying is that they have placed somebody to speak for them politically to do
Oh
more
God.
than just that. That's what I'm saying. I'm so well. Hold on. No. Okay, so tell no.
Okay,
Hold
Janine,
on,
this
hold
is
on,
easy.
hold on.
This is easy. Janine, I'm going to ask you a question and then you could talk. Who is the person who right now is the political voice or face for Chinese Americans?
If you have to go look in their community and
Janine,
find out. I haven't researched that. I won't
Janine,
say that I haven't.
Janine,
What I'm saying,
you
like,
need to
okay, let me
understand
give
that
you
what
an
you're doing
example.
right
Let
now.
me give you
No,
an
no,
example.
people
Let me give
stop
you an
laughing at this
example.
woman.
Who is the representative? Is it in Michigan or Minnesota? Ilhan Umar, right?
Ilhan Omar, yeah.
Okay, who does she represent?
Actually, her county
No.
is
Who does she
35%
really
black.
represent?
Our
But
county, our
She
seriously,
county.
no,
represents
Who does she represent?
no.
an area
She
in
Who does she
Minnesota.
represents
represent?
she represents that Muslim community. That community is now mostly
That's not
Muslim.
true.
They elected her.
That's
Yes,
not
That
they
is
true.
do.
absolutely not
That
true.
is
If she
their
just
Muslim
represented that, she
community,
would have
and
never got into office.
it's not. That's who she mostly represents.
No, if
That
that's
there
who
is
she
a
mostly
huge.
represents, she would have never
That
gotten
is
into office.
Oh
She
yeah, they'll
did get
kick it
into
out so
office
quick.
though.
So here's
She
what's
did
gonna
get
It,
happen
into
right
how?
now.
It
office.
wasn't just the
Right.
Muslim community.
Just because you're able to
Hold up, man.
persuade other people to agree with you does not mean you're not representing your community.
Okay,
That
hold
isn't
on.
that
Okay.
what they said
Here's
they
the
Janine,
wanted
deal. Here's the
Obama to
deal.
do too?
Somebody,
Come
not
on
Dinus.
now.
hold on, Lou Major.
Remember, not Dinus.
Hold on,
Let me
Lou
say
Major.
something.
Wow.
Hold on, Lou Major. One second. Janine, you got to understand. The majority of Somalis in Minnesota don't F with Elian Omar, number one.
Yes, they
So
do.
they
Okay,
don't.
They
where are you
don't.
getting that
Have you been
information from?
listening to Fox News or something? Like that's a straight up Fox News talking
Yes.
point.
Oh,
That is
they're trying to
Fox News.
separate from her
It's
now.
Fox
They're trying to
News.
separate from her now because they've called her out and tried to make her this bad guy. But
So
originally, that was not the
because
goal.
she has a hijab on, now she's a radical Muslim. Is that's straight from
Original,
Fox
her
News.
no. Her
That's Fox News, man. News.
original
Okay,
plan was her. She was a
I think
representative
you
for
need to
them.
just
Come
get rid of
on.
it. Like, this is not going to
Even
go anywhere. There is not a
Yeah, Janine, anything you want to say?
listen. That one is one of those examples where I just presented facts to you, right? I
you
just
still
literally
didn't
told you
answer
how
my
they do it.
question though. I asked what is so bad about being
We,
able to set yourself up
we
Can I answer that
politically.
question? You want me to answer
Yes,
it?
hold on,
yes,
Can
hold
I
on,
answer
hold
it?
on, hold on, hold on. Go ahead,
yes.
hold on. Ask the question. Hold on. Go ahead.
What's so bad about a woman being abused by her husband? Why can't she have a place, stay with him, and then get her an apartment somewhere else? Like, why can't you do both of them? She can get her ass beat while she's with him, and then she can go and relax in her own apartment. Why
How
not
does
do
that
that?
answer the question?
Because
I'm
that's the
asking
equivalent of what you're
why would
saying.
you
Because
We have no political power
represent
in
your community
America. We
to
are
invest
getting
in
our
Africa?
asses kicked.
hold up. Listen, I need you to understand that there is a capacity issue here with this particular individual. I don't think that she can understand what you're saying. I don't think she's
That's funny.
stupid, but I think that there's an emotional attachment to her position. And so whether or not you explain it to her or not, it's not going to matter. This is an emotional issue for her. This is not a reason-based issue here. Because if it was reason-based, she would understand.
Lou
She would not.
Major, why
She
do
would
you
understand
always
facts.
talk so
She's not living in
condescending? You
actual
can answer
reality.
the question without being condescending. Really, like
He
it's
just
not even
did.
cute or
But
funny.
But
Seriously.
Janine, the question
All
has
you
been
have
answered. You're not accepting the answer.
you didn't. I asked you
You're
to
not
answer.
accepting the
You
answer
went
because
off
it's
on a
not what you want to
tangent
hear.
about working hard. Oh, about your Haitian immigrants. I asked, why is it bad to be able to set yourself up
Because,
politically to get more money and invest, take the money you get and invest in Africa, and then if
I
you're
said,
able
and I
to do
said
more,
that
because
doing
Africa
that
will
has
be a
nothing
stronger
to do
nation.
with being in America. But Janine, to set yourself up, that is a unification issue. And if unification is going to happen, focusing in on Africa like every other group does, they
So
focus
you're saying I should
external
just
to the
move
United
to
States.
Janine,
Africa? I should
No,
just
Janine,
move to
Did
Africa.
you?
Janine, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
How was Rwanda coming out of a genocide at bottom zero able to lift their country up to be a developing nation in 24 years? And we've been here for how long?
400 years.
Our bones are buried here. Our bones.
Do you think and do you think that has anything to do with the fact that they have their own country?
Yes, I do.
Okay, there it is.
And this is gonna be the coldest shit I ever said, but the reality is that freedom is not free. It costs something. It either costs blood or it costs inconvenience, but it's not free. What most black people, and Janine is a good example of that, is that they want freedom, but they're not willing to pay for it. Right? And so what you're seeing here is, why is it so bad to stay in America? What she's really saying is, I'm comfortable here.
I didn't say you had to stay in America. I said I'm a citizen here. Why would I not set myself up politically while I'm here and prepare myself to move to Africa?
The same reason why you wouldn't stay. The same reason. Let me answer that. Let me answer that, please. The same reason why you wouldn't stay in an abusive relationship.
Oh yeah.
I've never heard a guy. I've never heard. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. I've heard dudes who are coming out of divorce. They're coming out of a divorce, a marriage, and they're getting divorced. I've never heard a guy say, I got to stay with this woman because I've invested a lot in this house and this car. You know what most of those guys do? They say, man, if I got to deal with this bitch, she can have the house. She can have the car. I'll start all over before I deal with her.
Oh, yeah.
Again,
Same thing.
The reason that, and Janine is not a bad person. She is just a common person. I don't need your offer. She has the mentality of a slave, so like right? So, like, the reality is, look, Janine, you have to understand that you sound like a buffoon, and I'm trying to not.
I thought I was supposed to be the bad one.
No.
Okay,
hold it,
but here's the deal. I've been trying to sit there and say stuff to her in a way that's very nice, but what's very clear here is that there's a capacity issue, and most people are very much like her. They're like, dude, y'all laughing like it's a joke, but you have to understand that most black people are like her. She is the common black person. She's even overweight. Like,
oh Lord, man! Okay. I thought I was the bad guy. I was supposed to be the
I'm trying to make nice guy. Like, no, y'all making it like, oh, it's not a joke. It's not a joke, man.
Lou, stop the show. Lou, I need you to apologize. Lou, I need you to apologize.
No, he doesn't need to apologize. No, that's good. I don't need it. It's fine.
She's not a bad person. I'm not trying to down her, guys. I'm saying
Lou Major, you don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to explain yourself.
Raw thing, whatever it is you're doing right now.
You don't need to explain yourself. Like, just you say what you say. Dang. Leave it at that. You say stuff and then like backpedal all the time.
I'm not backpedaling on anything.
Thank God Hollop didn't get on there.
Listen, what you need to understand, seeing with her, it's not that. It's not. I'm sure she loves black people. What I'm saying is, this is the common black person. This is where most black people are at. Like what I said to what we have.
What do you even mean by that?
But because it doesn't jive with her already pre-programmed ideology, she just disregards it. So for example,
Hollop said, you just took everything I said and you did the same exact. You're super intelligent. You're a mess. You're hilarious though. Nothing.
I'm not. Listen, you say whatever you like, but
you're basically saying. You do the same exact thing, Lou Major. And then you turn around and you backpedal things that you say when you get caught up because you talk too much. It's like you like to hear yourself talk.
I'm not backpedaling on anything I've said.
You do. I've watched you many times, and you go back and you backpedal things that you say later.
Okay, if you can make this claim, please give an example.
No, can I call you Miss Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say this, okay? I understand, what you're talking about, reparations and everything, and you're trying to get your stuff in America before you move to the continent. But
Right.
from what I'm like me, I grew up in Nigeria. I'm Nigerian, okay? I grew up in Nigeria, and I'm so fond of African Americans, okay?
Hmm.
I want to state this that with the way America is going, with the history it has, I think our Black American counterparts should not hold too much break for the reparations because I don't think crack is going to pay you anything, man. Okay.
I
It won't pay.
Janine, I'm going to simply say this. Do you understand that right now African Americans are on pace that by 2053, African Americans will have zero wealth?
yes.
Do you understand that? First of all, were you aware of that? Were you aware of that?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the deal. I need you to think about so if you were aware of that, then I need you to think about your question, right? Your question is, what's wrong with staying in America and establishing yourself here, something that Black Americans have not been able to do for 400 years and are progressively losing wealth? You're saying, why can't Black Americans stay in Black America, establish themselves politically, and then move back to Africa when you're losing wealth?
I didn't say that. I said
oh, Jesus Christ.
politically here. And no, can I finish the question? It was all I'm saying is just because this is what I'm doing. This is all I'm saying right now. I follow ADOS because I like the political aspect. I am taking my money and investing in Africa.
ADOS is not even a political aspect. ADOS is just being divisive. Come on,
I'll just tell you, Janine. We've been laying it out for you.
It ain't gonna happen, Janine. I love you. I love you, sis.
Question. I didn't know why it felt like this whole you got this attack.
The answer. The answer to the question is it's not going to happen here in America.
I mean, it's
not going to happen.
Well, I like the idea, so that's just my.
And I don't understand why we even want it to happen.
I mean,
are we in love with abuse?
No, I just study Reconstruction, and I like the idea that Black people were able to build their own stuff.
Okay, What happened with Reconstruction? What happened?
We got lynched and
our towns got burned down, and we did everything. But it's not to say. It's not to say.
Janine.
Yes.
Can I ask you something? Did you hear my story earlier when I first got on?
Yes.
About the German woman who called Rwandans monkeys. Did you hear about that story?
Yes.
What did the Rwandans do? They said, I'm giving you 24 hours to get out of town, and 23 of them are already gone. Right. Can you do that with any white person here in America?
No.
Thank you. Okay. There we go.
Janine, we love you, Janine, but we got to move on. And by the way, I love your hair, Janine. I love your hair. I love Rock. I love
you, sis. I love you.
Janine. All right, bye-bye. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
Nah.
I'm almost afraid.
Hold up. I just don't understand the emotional attachment to this place.
Yeah, it's like I said, that my analogy is perfect. You got a woman beating her ass beat by her husband in the house, and she's asking you, how can she stay in the house and get some power outside of the house at the same time? It makes absolutely no fucking sense. You gotta get in a condition where you're not getting your ass beat. You got it. That's the point. I don't know how. Can I put it any simpler than that?
No, you just no.
No, the thing is that Stockholm syndrome is just gotten so realistic now. It's like 2.0 now.
Right. He got cut?
Yeah. He'll probably come back on.
Like people, it's like I said this before. It's like your house is burning down. And I'm saying, well, why don't we go get some water and put the fire out? And then you go, yeah, that sounds good, but look at my couch, it's burning. Well, why don't we get some water and put out the fire? Yeah, I hear you, and that's a good option. But yo, my kitchen is on fire. Every time you come up with the solution, motherfucker just dismiss it and then go right back to what the problem is. What do you do with that? It's like, I don't know what to do with that. I'm telling you, you cannot build anything if you don't control the context of your reality. If you don't control the land, you don't control the infrastructure, you don't control shit. So this whole thing about building something here in America, what are you talking about? Are we going to take over the water supply in America in any state?
Nope.
Are we going to control, are they going to cede the roads and the highways over to ADOS in any state?
Whoa, hold on. See, I am an indigenous Chickasaw, Choctaw, Olmeccan Moor from Turtle Island. And per UN statute resolution 40454, okay, are going to present our case to the United Nations. Okay, and then the United Nations is gonna force America to give us copper colored. See, I'm copper colored.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Copper colored Moors, the land of America, including the infrastructure. You know,
Right.
the Empire State Building,
Right.
Statue of Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Hoover Dam. All that is
Right.
coming to us after we present our case as
Right.
copper colored indigenous Chickasaw, Choctaw, Olmeccan Moors to the UN.
Right. Now, you know what could accompany everything you just said? That
Yeah.
video of those cops knocking this guy's fez off and parading his ass to fucking jail.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna find a video. Hold on. Go keep. Hold on.
You have no jurisdiction over me while they dragging your ass into a cell.
Oh yeah. They're body slamming you, they're choking you out, they're pepper spraying you, they're hitting you with a baton, they're slamming your head on the police car. Yes, like, come on.
Right, but you have no jurisdiction. Like I said, the favorite thing I've heard when those guys go to courtroom, they told the judge, well, you have no jurisdiction. And the judge killed the whole argument with this. She said, then why are you here?
Oh yeah.
If I have no jurisdiction over you, what are you doing in the courtroom? Oh, I know why you're in the courtroom, because if you don't come to the courtroom, they're going to come and drag your ass there.
Oh yeah. Or they will just bazooka you with your SWAT team and pull you out. Yeah, that's what they will do. American police is horrible. Oh yeah.
Dwight Davison says he's a serious challenger. Can we bring his can we bring him on? Because I want to get this serious challenge. You know, I want to get the serious challenge from somebody who believes that nationhood is not the answer. Please bring that serious challenger on the air.
All right, Dwight, I just sent you the link, Dwight Davison.
See,
I can't wait for somebody to explain to me how being a second class and third class citizen is more optional than having your own land.
like I said, like people should understand that it doesn't take for the army to start going to black neighborhoods and shooting our people. The police is already doing it. They're just the police. The police is doing it. The police are coming and they're doing us everything. Body
I'm
slam,
telling you, man, yo, officer, I was so jealous when I heard that story. Like when we was all at the dinner table and we heard that story, our reaction was all the same. I wish that I could do the Dolomite on a white person here.
Oh yeah.
That's beautiful. And the funny thing about it was the guy who told the story thought he was disappointed because the person didn't go to jail. I'm like, man, that's even better than her going to jail.
Yeah.
You got 24 hours to leave and 23 of them are already gone.
Yeah, because if you don't lay off 24 hours, that's bloodshed. You know, you're gonna get
Right.
messed up. Oh, straight up. That's what that meant. So they knew what they meant. So crackers had to run away and quick.
Oh, we got all these serious. I wish that we could put all the serious challenges on at the same time.
Well, Dwight Davidson is here.
All right, go ahead, Dwight Davidson. Go ahead.
Let's hear the pearl. Let's eat the pearls of wisdom, the crumbs that fall from his table of knowledge. Go ahead.
Well, I just want you to take into account what happened to Marcus Garvey.
What happened to him?
Was his organization, was he trying to do a Back to Africa movement?
Mm-hmm. And what happened?
And was his organization infiltrated?
Yeah. And
And
what's the point?
All right.
What's the point?
What's the point?
Yeah.
You think you just gonna be able to waltz up out of here with 3
Let
or
me
4
ask you a
million
question.
people? No,
Are you a football fan?
No, I'm not like that lady. Let me finish my statement.
Oh,
Are you a football fan?
hold it, hold it, ready.
No, you
No,
let me
this
finish
is
what I was
a
gonna
simple
say.
this is a simple
No,
question.
let
Are you a
me
football
finish
fan?
what I was going to say. Okay.
Oh, I understand why you don't want to answer my question, but go ahead.
No, you haven't finished it because you haven't
Go
let me
ahead.
finish mine.
Finish your point so I can
Okay.
smash it.
Yeah, you gonna try.
I'm gonna do it. Finish your
No,
point.
yeah.
Finish your point and
Let's
stop
see if
stalling.
we can hit
Stop
this. Okay,
stalling
my
and
point
finish
now.
what you're
Hey,
saying.
Yeah, I will. I said you think the United States, the FBI, CIA are not going to infiltrate and try to destroy you? Yeah, they like seeing us suffer. And they're not going to let you just walk up out here because they like seeing us suffer. And they're going to try to keep you here. Okay?
So
Now,
you're
so they're not going to let you just walk up out of here with that many people.
So you scared?
No, I'm not scared.
Oh, you
I'm
scared?
saying
Oh, really?
you're making it seem like what you're talking about just going to be so easy.
Can you tell me when you finish so I can ask you something?
Yeah, as opposed to staying. Well, I feel like those who want to go to Africa, do so. Those who want to stay here and fight for reparations, do so.
Oh God.
And therefore, and then part
Well,
of
it
the
don't
money,
sound like it.
and if we're able to get some reparation money, that money can be shared with the brothers in Africa to help them build up their country. Okay, so I don't have any problem. I don't have a problem with going over there. I don't have a problem with other people going over there. But then don't try to browbeat somebody who wants to stay here and fight for reparations, which we all owe. Okay, so don't
Okay,
seem like what you're talking about is superior because you're only going to be able to get, a few people over there, and don't think you're not going to get government interference.
This is a very long point. Are you finished?
Yeah, I'm finished for now.
You a football fan?
Yeah.
What's your team?
It doesn't matter. Just make your point.
Why doesn't it matter? What's your team?
It doesn't matter. Make your point. You talking about
I'm making
football.
my point. I'm asking you, what's your team? What is your
Make
team?
your point without. You don't have to know my team.
So your team is a secret?
No, it's just not relevant to the point.
It is relevant. I'm asking you, what's your favorite team?
Okay, well, I play along with you. The Dallas Cowboys and I have two, the Patriots and the Cowboys.
Okay, well, I can understand why you're a Patriots fan.
I got it.
I can understand. All right, so Dallas Cowboys, right? The Dallas Cowboys.
No,
the Dallas.
Can
I finish what I'm saying? Can I finish what I'm saying? Okay.
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys. Did they win the Super Bowl last year?
No.
So did they tear down? Did they tear down the stadium?
What?
Did the Dallas Cowboys tear down their stadium because they didn't win the Super Bowl?
No, they did not. No, they
Why
did not?
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Because they have to have a place to play.
Why play again? They already lost.
Well, because every year they have a chance to try again.
Oh, wait a minute. So you mean because they lost last year, that doesn't mean that they stop playing? They keep playing until they win, right?
Yeah.
So what's your point about Marcus Garvey again?
My point is that both of those ideas can play again every year.
No, you were saying Marcus Garvey. Look at what happened. You said, "Look at what happened." You said,
"I'm gonna cut you off."
You said, "You cut me off because you don't want me to make my point." You said, "Look at Marcus Garvey and what happened to Marcus Garvey."
Exactly.
So how come Marcus? So because that happened to Marcus Garvey, we supposed to give up on nationhood?
And just because we haven't got reparations, we're supposed to give up on that?
You actually strengthening my point. You're just too stupid to realize it.
No, you're strengthening my point. You strengthening
No,
my
you
point.
strengthening my point because
No,
your
you
point
strengthening
was,
my point.
oh, look at what
I
happened to
said-
Marcus Garvey.
because I
We
said-
can't do that because the
Yeah,
U.S.
and look at
government
what-
is going to do
okay.
this. The CIA is going to do that.
Yeah, the white man.
And you saying the same thing about
No,
reparations.
you are.
And I know.
You talk
You
about
saying the
somebody
same
that's
thing
not
about
capable,
reparations.
Dynass. This dude
And
is
you-
fucking retarded.
No, you are retarded.
You don't
'cause
even
I'm saying
realize
the
that
same-
you are strengthening up my point.
No, because I'm flipping it back on you.
No, you're not. You're actually
Yes, I
being.
am.
You actually don't even understand what I just said.
No, you don't understand what I just said. I'm flipping
No, I
it on
understand
you.
that you're an idiot.
No, I understand that you won.
Guys, hold on. Let me interject real quick. Hold up. Have me and you ever said that we're against reparations?
No.
So what is this guy talking about?
He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't even
yes, I
realize
do.
that he just
all you-
realized he doesn't even realize that he just contradicted himself with the
No, you
football
contradicted
analogy.
yourself because you sitting on there saying reparations won't happen, and I'm sitting on here saying.
When did I say that?
Yeah, you said it.
When did I say that? Go to the
You
point in
said
this
it.
video where I
I'm
said it and
listening.
play it
You
back.
said it every
What's the
show.
time stamp on when I said it?
You said it every show that you've been on there that I've listened to. Okay. You saying
No, it's not okay because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Okay, you saying you're abused by your husband and you crazy for staying there. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's saying.
Would you stay in? So you're pro-abusive relationships?
All right then. So
you're
saying there's
pro-abusive
chance
relationships?
So you saying there's no chance?
Are
for
you
reconciliation?
pro-abusive
So you saying there's no
relationships?
chance
Yes or
of
no?
reconciliation
Are you
within this-
pro-abusive relationships?
Huh?
Yes or no?
No, I'm pro-reparations.
Are you pro-abusive relationships? Because that's what I was
pro-reparations. Now,
talking about.
Okay.
Should
Are
a
you
woman
pro-
stay with
are
a
you
guy
pro-
that's
are you-
abusing her?
Are you pro-infiltration?
Should a woman stay with a
Are you-
guy that's abusing her? Yes or no?
No,
Well, then what are you arguing with me for?
because there is a chance you had what you call it, separation before divorce. Try to work things out, but I'm
Oh,
not
so you
trying
want her to work it out with the dude that's whooping
No,
her
I'm
ass?
not
Okay, I
trying
got
to work
you.
things out. I'm not trying to work things out. I want my money. I want the money that I'm owed for my ancestors' suffering. That's what I want.
Baby, I want to ask you one
Okay.
thing. Right? I'm Nigerian. I'm from the continent, and
Yeah,
I just
okay.
want to say this, okay? With what is happening in America, with all the things I see all the time, because I have a YouTube channel that I talk about police brutality and how it happens to African Americans. Okay, the fact is that look, Didi, okay, crack ain't gonna pay you nothing, man. Crack
Well,
ain't
that's
gonna pay
Trump.
you
That's Trump. That's Trump. He's not going to be the last president.
No. Crack ain't gonna pay you nothing, man. It's
What did
gonna
I
be
just say?
zero.
What did I just say? Trump is not going to be the last president.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, crack ain't, no matter who's gonna be like, no, they're not. Americans not gonna pay African Americans nothing, man. It's gonna
Okay,
be
well,
zero.
tell me this.
Oh, God.
Tell me this. What countries in Africa going to take 30 to 40 million African
Oh,
Americans?
Lord, we already addressed that.
Nigeria
We
can
already
do it.
addressed it.
My country can
No,
do it.
you
My
have
country
not.
can do it.
That deserves
That's 40
that
million.
deserves
We'll
a
take it all.
fucking deleted. That
No, it
deserves
does
a
not.
deleted.
Address
Nigeria
it
will take 40
again.
million
Address it
African
again,
Americans.
because I didn't hear you address it.
Nigeria, Didi. Nigeria will take all you guys, all with space
Really?
in between. Yeah.
Okay,
all.
go show me a government agreement. Pull it up and show me a government agreement where they've agreed to do that.
They will do it.
Show
They're already
me.
Africa's
Show
already
me.
doing that. They're already
Huh?
doing that, man. They're already
No,
doing it.
I said 30 to 40 million. I'm not
Yeah,
talking
he
about.
would prefer the 30 and 40 million stay in America and be second and third
No.
class citizens.
No, I'm saying show
That's
me.
more desirable.
I'm saying show me where they've
Ghana,
agreed to do it.
Ghana is doing it. Rwanda
Huh?
is doing it. Namibia
Man,
is
Ghana
doing
is
it.
You ain't
accepted
trying to
100
go to
people.
Africa, nigga.
Ghana accepted 100 people. I just saw the headline. 100 people.
You
in
ain't trying to go to
2019.
Africa.
They
What you
made
fronting for?
They accepted 100 people in 2019. That's all.
What are
That's
you
a long
fronting
way
for?
from
So
20
you trying to get
that's
to
a long way
Africa?
from 30 to 40 million people.
Which country in Africa you trying to get to? Maybe we can help you.
Oh, I'm going to Uganda.
Okay.
Okay.
So what's your problem?
But I mean, but they don't stop browbeating African Americans who want to stay here and fight for the reparations. You understand?
But you
I'm
don't
not
go
trying to.
get it, man.
We're not trying to
How
browbeat
about
you.
how about no?
Okay. Huh?
You won't
How
get
about
it.
no?
Get
Okay.
it.
Well, how about I'm gonna keep browbeating you then?
That's
You
fine.
get it, man.
Because all it's gonna do is I'm gonna just keep owning your ass every time you do it. So no
No, you
problem.
haven't owned me. I put the judo flip on you.
I know you did. In your mind, you done Bruce
I
Lee'd
already
me
put the
up.
judo flip on you. Okay, because
Didi,
what I made
Didi,
you
you
do,
don't get anything, man.
what I made you
This
do
guy
was
is Chuck
agree.
Norris in his mind.
Yeah, I made you agree that you're gonna have to try, keep trying, just like the reparations movement gonna have to keep trying. All right. So you have not. If you only got Ghana to accept 100 people in 1 year, you're gonna have a long time. You're gonna be dead. Your great grandchildren gonna be trying to get 30 to 40
Well,
million
no.
people.
First of all,
You
nobody's
understand?
40 million people ain't trying to go to Africa anyway. The people
I
talking
know it.
about going to Africa is
I
like
know it. So
1%.
you know what? So the people that going, the majority of them are going to stay here. So they
And
might
be
as well be
second
fighting for.
and third class
They
citizens
might as
and
well.
getting
They
their
might as
ass
well.
kicked
Well,
on
they
a
might as well
consistent
fight for
basis.
reparations. They might as well
And be
fight
killed
for
by
the
the police on a
reparations.
daily basis. That's what you
Okay.
want, Didi, right?
That's what they're gonna
Is that what
do.
you
But
want?
that's
They
what
might
you
as well
love.
fight.
You
They might as well
love.
fight for the
You
reparations
love
while
that
they
third
here.
and second,
Okay.
that second and third class
They
citizenship here in
might.
America,
You know what?
right?
No,
You
they
love
could.
that shit. You
They
love
could.
the
No,
police
no.
brutality.
We could pull the
You
Samson
love
option.
that.
You know
But
what
you
that
love it
is?
so much that you want to do it for another 500
You know what the
years.
Samson option? You know what Samson did, right? You know what Samson did?
Samson from the Bible?
Yeah.
He got his hair cut off and died, right?
How did he die? What did he do? He destroyed the enemy. Okay.
What enemy?
Who are we talking about getting reparations from?
Oh, that's your
Okay.
enemy?
Dude, you won't
Yeah.
get it.
Really?
Zero. You won't
Your
get
enemy?
reparations
So
from
you
China.
comfortable with your enemy controlling your water and food supply?
No, I said we're gonna stay here and we might just pull out the Samson option that will free you and your people who
The
want.
Samson option. This guy is delusional.
Oh, I can't take it. I can't take it.
Okay. Oh,
can't
okay.
take it.
Nah, Didi,
This guy
you
is
have to go.
delusional.
No,
These are the
Didi,
type
you
of
have to go.
idiots that we
Nah,
got.
nah.
That was the strong resistance.
Samson option.
No, Donna, take that guy out.
Jesus Christ, man.
Somebody in the chat room said he knows when somebody's on that brown liquor. That was straight brown liquor influence.
The Samson option. These guys, I got to use that one. The Samson option.
There's a guy here saying Nigerian sold ADOS. Like, dude, Nigeria doesn't sell anyone, man. Like, behave yourself. On the
What'd he
chat,
say?
like he says that he's whatever is Nigerian sold ADOS. I don't get like they should leave
Nigerians sold ADOS.
Like what the hell?
What is he talking about?
Nigerians sold ADOS. Send me an email.
Like,
Come
seriously?
on.
Oh wait, that's his name?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh
No,
Jesus Christ! This is gonna be. Jesus Christ, man! We got these. These are the mental giants that we got coming on. Is gonna dispel nationhood.
Right.
Samson
option.
Nah. This is too much. Oh no.
I love that. I hear so many black people talking about, yo, we got to take this country over. I'm like, really? So, like I said, it's the equivalent of saying that I'm going to beat up the heavyweight champ of the world, and I ain't done no road work. I ain't fought nobody. I don't do no sparring. But with my mouth, I'm saying, yo, I'm going to beat that nigga's ass. Mm-hmm. And you know what's going to happen if we ever get in the ring?
Oh, it's gonna it'll be over real fast.
All your shit is gonna be exposed.
You said Samson option. Oh,
I don't trust people that don't want to organize and think that they're gonna be killing somebody. You ain't killing nobody, nigga. You ain't gonna do shit but what you've been doing. Nothing.
Yeah. You're gonna.
If you really want to be serious, if I can take a fighter seriously, if he's fighting other fighters, if he's training. If I see him doing road work in the morning, then I'm like, okay, maybe this dude that can actually beat the champ. But you sitting in your house, grabbing your nuts, eating bonbons, and I'm supposed to believe that you're a serious threat to anything?
Bonbons.
You smoking a blunt and drinking a 40 and listening to Little Pump, and I'm supposed to expect you to go and kill the white man in his own country? Get the fuck out of here, man.
The Samson option.
The Samson option. These dudes is delusional.
We haven't used the Samson option on even the police brutality.
Yeah.
Dude.
When you waiting to use it, you just keeping it in the chamber for
Yeah.
another 500 years?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Clowns. Man, I would love to stay on with here, but I gotta get off of here.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and log off too. Hold up. How
Yeah.
can people reach you? I know you have your own platform. So how can people subscribe to you, brother?
BAIO Africstan.com or Africstan.org.
Perfect. And Officer of the Damn Law, anything else you want to share in closing?
Oh, I just want to say this, that also my channel. Why I do the police brutality channels is to wake our people up, our African American brothers and sisters out there. Look, America doesn't have your interest. You need to have an exit plan. ADOS is dragging you guys into the ground and into the burning house and into any place that is horrible. Crack ain't gonna pay you any reparations, and that's just it.
Oh, Jesus, the Samson option. That I'm gonna remember that one.
That guy was drunk. Samson option is a nuclear program in Israel. I don't know where that guy just picked it up.
Oh my God. But yo, peace to both of y'all brothers. I'm out of here.
Okay. All right, y'all. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you go to dynastymirror.com. Go to dynastymirror.com. Reach out to me. Also, tour is coming up in March 20th to the 26th. If you're interested in the tour, send me an email. Just go to dynastymirror.com, contact me, and I'll get you the information. But again, tour back to Nigeria, Omo Naija, March 20th through the 26th. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Until next time, family, Dynasty Mirror, search for Uru. Peace.
Peace.